Chapter 1388. Chu Yang asked cautiously with incomparable apprehension. Are you Xiaowu or Qinggu? This sentence made the master of calculation and manipulation, Mo Tianji, dizzy. In an instant this wise man, who was ranked in the top 3 in the heavenly layer, was in a state of confusion. Mo Tianji didn't understand what this sentence meant. Whether it was Xiaowu or Qingwu, weren't they both my sisters? For Chu Yang to ask this question, is he out of his mind? Or is he out of his mind? However, Mo Qingwu clearly understood the words that Mo Tianji did not understand. Mo Qingwu's eyes became hazy. Her white teeth bit her lips. Her lips trembled and turned white. She said, wasn't that a dream? Her long eyelashes fluttered like a startled deer. Chu Yang was a little agitated. He stepped forward and said, yes, that was a dream. At this moment his heart was surging. A sour feeling rose from the bottom of his heart and spread throughout his body. He knew the crux of Mo Qingwu's problem. Since he left, Mo Qingwu must have had that strange dream every day. But now, she had no one to talk to and no one to comfort her. This was a kind of mental disorder caused by the repeated dreams. It caused her personality to evolve towards the memories of her previous life. But it wasn't the real awakening of the memories of her previous life. Otherwise, Mo Qingwu wouldn't have reacted like this. He thought about how Mo Qingwu had to bear that heart-wrenching dream all by herself. That kind of pressure was as heavy as a mountain. That experience was filled with sorrow and despair. How could a little girl like her be able to bear it? Chu Yang's heart was suddenly filled with heartache. That was a dream. Mo Qingwu's eyes reddened. She bit her lips and said sadly, but you were so fierce. You didn't want me anymore. In your eyes, I'm not even as pretty as a sword. These words finally restored some of Xiaowu's tone and image in this life. Chu Yang took a breath and said gently, silly. Do you know? Dreams were all illusory. Furthermore, dreams and reality were absolute opposites. In dreams, the worse I treat you, the better I treat you in reality. Mo Qingwu's eyes lit up. She finally couldn't hold back her joy and said, really? Really? Chu Yang said with certainty. Mo Qingwu's small nose bridge wrinkled. Then her eyes turned into crescents and she smiled happily. She tilted her head and wanted to act coquettishly. But she felt that her mood had changed too quickly, and she wasn't used to it. So she pretended to be angry and said, humph 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 humph, humph 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 humph. Although Chu Yang still had some worries in his heart, he was temporarily relieved. He smiled and said, what are you snorting for? Have I turned into a piglet? Mo Qingwu rolled her eyes and said angrily, you're the piggy. Chu Yang said, only a piglet would humph. Mo Qingwu unhappily wrinkled her nose and snorted twice. Suddenly he frowned and said suspiciously, but you just asked me. You're Xiaowu. Or Qingwu. The little girl recalled the dream again. In her dream, Chu Yang had always called her Qingwu. The little girl began to let her imagination run wild again. How could Chu Yang give her a chance to go back? He immediately put on a straight face. Who is Xiaowu? Mo Qingwu replied in a daze. Of course it's me. Chu Yang continued to ask. Who is Qingwu? Mo Qingwu. Of course it's me too. Humph humph humph. Chu Yang snorted twice and winked. Then are you Xiaowu or Qingwu? The pitiful little girl was immediately led into a ditch by these two sentences. She said in a silly manner, Xiaowu is me, Qingwu is also me. Ah. Suddenly, she jumped up and pounded Chu Yang's chest with her small pink fists. She said coquettishly, big brother Chu Yang, you're so naughty. You're really naughty, Xiaowu hates you to death. Chu Yang hugged the warm and fragrant jade in his arms. Instantly, a huge rock in his heart was lifted. It was a false alarm. He laughed happily. You're stupid, you can't blame me for going in circles. Mo Qingwu twisted her body, but refused to comply. At this moment, the naivety and innocence returned to Xiaowu. Chu Yang heaved a sigh of relief. Chu Yang put on a straight face and said, where's the greeting gift? The little girl snorted unhappily. Then, she happily pouted her red lips and pecked Chu Yang's right cheek. Chu Yang moaned happily. He tilted his head and moved his left cheek closer. Here. Munch. The little girl took another bite. Chu Yang pouted. Here. Mo Qingwu giggled and struggled out of his arms. She scrubbed her face and hid to one side. She complained, "Big brother Chu Yang is a big hooligan." Chu Yang smiled dizzily. Mo Tianji's eyes reddened as he watched. He angrily took 2 steps forward and placed himself between Chu Yang and Mo Qingwu. He slanted his nose and narrowed his eyes as he said furiously, "What a scandal!" Chu Yang reached out and pushed him to one side. He said, "What does it have to do with you? Go away." Mo Tianji was at his wit's end. He walked to his sister and advised in a low voice, "Little Wu, you're still young. Getting involved in these things too early will be detrimental to your growth. Also, as a girl, you have to be reserved. Reserved, understand? This concerns your status in the future." Mo Qingwu opened her round eyes and said, "Getting involved in these things too early? What are these things here?" Mo Tianji's face darkened. He carefully chose his words and said, "For example, love between a man and a woman." Mo Qingwu asked, "What is love between a man and a woman?" Mo Tianji opened his mouth wide. "This?" Mo Qingwu persevered. "Second brother, explain it." Mo Tianji's eyes widened. "Second brother, explain it." Mo Qingwu acted coquettishly. "I want to have sex with big brother Chu Yang, but I can't." Mo Tianji's face darkened. He shouted in grief and indignation, "No! Why not?" Mo Qingwu asked bravely. "Explain it clearly. This matter, this. Mo Tianji tragically stuttered under his sister's questioning. Mo Tianji, who had always been wise, eloquent, strategizing, and the master of calculation and manipulation, in front of his sister's pure and flawless eyes, that intense thirst for knowledge in her eyes, he was utterly defeated. He couldn't help but look at Chu Yang for help. Chu Yang was cursing in his heart. "This bastard is really a jerk. Always ruining my plans. This is intolerable." Seeing that Mo Tianji was asking for help, Chu Yang's eyes turned and he asked humbly, "Yes, brother Tianji. I would also like to ask, what exactly is love between a man and a woman that you mentioned? Does it need to be in a specific environment? Or does it need some other conditions?" "Ayaya. Tianji, oh Tianji, your thoughts aren't impure, right? Let me tell you, Xiao Wu and I won't listen to those shameless things, even if it's something like taking off one's clothes. Don't you think so, Xiao Wu?" Mo Qingwu nodded vigorously. She fully supported brother Chu Yang's words. Brother Chu Yang is absolutely right. Second brother, you can't talk about those shameless things. Second brother, hurry up and explain. Mo Tianji hugged his head and squatted on the ground. He was speechless for a long time. Oh God. Just let me die. Chu Yang had finally vented his resentment. For a moment he felt elated. Motherfucker, even you Mo Tianji, have such a day. You deserve it. Mo Tianji thought for a long time. Finally he exploded. He pulled Mo Qingwu to one side and said earnestly in a low voice, "Xiao Wu, there are some things that I can't tell you so early, but I have to remind you. Do you know that you are a girl?" Mo Tianji gritted his teeth and said patiently, "Don't you like Chu Yang? Then let me tell you a secret. If you want Chu Yang to always remember you, you have to make him unable to eat you forever. For example, you have to loosen the reins in order to grasp them better. Or you have to be hazy, like an illusion, or simply become an iceberg. Arouse his desire to conquer you, but don't let him conquer you. Just leave him hanging like this." Mo Tianji looked at Chu Yang maliciously and said fiercely in his heart, "Leave him hanging for thousands of years." Mo Qingwu said unhappily, "I don't want to listen to you. You haven't even found a wife. This is the conclusion of being kicked by girls too many times, right?" Mo Tianji was speechless. Mo Qingwu said excitedly, "But the first 2 sentences are somewhat useful, but I don't really understand." Mo Tianji was shocked. "What don't you understand? Second brother will explain it to you in detail." "What is unable to eat me?" Mo Qingwu asked tirelessly. "Is brother Chu Yang going to eat me?" Mo Tianji opened his mouth. What is desire to conquer?" The little girl tilted her head and looked confused. Mo Tianji opened his eyes wide. At this moment, the master of calculation and manipulation, Mo Tianji, simply wanted to dig a hole in the ground and bury himself quickly. He could explain these things to anyone. If it was to Gu Du Xing, GMO, Luo Kudi and the others. Mo Tianji could even talk loudly and enthusiastically all night long until those guys' eyes showed a wolf-like look. Only then would he stop. But only to his own sister. He couldn't explain it. On the side, Chu Yang was laughing so hard that his stomach was cramping. But he also felt a little strange in his heart. Since Mo Qingwu keeps dreaming, it's impossible that she doesn't even know these things. Even if she hasn't heard of it in reality, she has experienced it in her dreams. Just as Mo Tianji was in a difficult situation, Mo Qingwu suddenly blushed and scolded hatefully. Second brother, I really don't know what you're thinking about every day. In my opinion, among all of you brothers, you're the most impure. You're the most rogue. And you still have the face to talk about others. Humph. Mo Tianji was dumbfounded. How am I impure? How am I a rogue? Humph. Brother Chu Yang has been with you all this time. Did he learn bad things from you? Mo Qingwu snorted and walked angrily to Chu Yang with her head tilted. She grabbed his arm and said, Brother Chu Yang, let's go. Let's stay far away from him. In the future, you're not allowed to learn from him. Chu Yang nodded like he was pounding garlic. I definitely won't learn from him. Mo Qingwu heaved a sigh of relief. Second brother is really too hateful. Chu Yang hurriedly added insult to injury. Actually, you've misunderstood. Your second brother is still very good. He often invites me to drink, and to some elegant places to listen to music and drink tea, see beautiful women and so on. But I've always just listened. Although your second brother can't be found at those places every time he goes to, I'm really curious about where he goes. Besides, he has so many friends at those places and all of them are very beautiful. Mo Qingwu's eyes spat fire. What a good Mo Tianji. Mph. Mo Tianji was devastated. Chu Yang, I'll fight it out with you. Cough, sorry for the late update. G. Chapter 1389. The impression that Mo Tianji had just restored in his sister's heart was completely destroyed. She saw how obedient her younger sister was to Chu Yang. Chu Yang was speaking on one side, and Mo Qingwu was looking at her with an extremely resentful expression on the other side. Mo Tianji's blood boiled, and he almost spat out mouthfuls of blood. Smart kids remember network super fast hands. Was there any justice in this world? Qingwu, you don't know. Tianji is really a good person. Don't misunderstand him. Chu Yang continued to work hard, looking as if he would never give up until he suppressed Mo Tianji to hell, and made him unable to make a comeback. Tianji has been chivalrous all this while and has indeed done many heroic deeds of saving beauties. The number of women that he has saved is really uncountable. He's a good man. Mo Qingwu was so angry that her nose was crooked. Brother Chu Yang, you believe this? Let me ask you, were all the girls that second brother saved very beautiful? Chu Yang was startled. He thought seriously and said, I didn't pay attention to this. In my heart, who can be more beautiful than Xiao Wu? But now that you mention it, it does seem to be the case. Mo Qingwu's face was full of satisfaction and happiness. She looked down on Mo Tianji and said, Yes, if they were not beautiful, why would he save them? He obviously has an ulterior motive. Chu Yang was enlightened. I see. I really didn't pay attention. At this time someone said, Don't mention this. Mo Tianji keeps to himself every time and doesn't let us interfere. It's fine if it's me, but Luo Kudi is still single. He has no chance at all. Sigh. Mo Tianji is having more and more concubines. It was GMO. At the side, Luo Kudi wanted to cry but had no tears. This is nothing. But Mo Tianji goes to the brothel every day. It's really a little bad. For a moment, Mo Tianji was criticized by everyone. It was as if he had 100 mouths all over his body. He couldn't explain it. Aoxia Yin was the only one who didn't participate in the attack. He looked at him sympathetically and said, Tianji, actually, I knew that you were not this kind of person. Mo Tianji said with grief and indignation. Get lost. Aoxia Yin was furious. He said, You go to the brothel every day, and you still think you are right. The group of brothers immediately poured all the shit in the world onto Mo Tianji. And when he opened his mouth he would definitely say, Actually, Tianji is a good person, for example. Mo Tianji was so angry that he almost had a heart attack. Mo Qingwu was also so angry that one Buddha was born, and two Buddhas rose to the heavens. She angrily pulled Chu Yang and walked in front. GMO, Luo Kudi, Rui Butong, and the others giggled as they swarmed forward. They followed behind Mo Tianji. Each of them felt refreshed. They had been oppressed by Mo Tianji for so long that they couldn't turn the tables. But they could finally hold their heads up high today. Seeing Mo Tianji's dark face, the little brothers felt as if they had taken a cold bath on a hot day. Their bodies felt warm from head to toe. It was Mo Tianji's image. This time, he had completely ruined it in front of his younger sister. Moreover, Chu Yang's great image had been thoroughly established after Mo Tianji's image had collapsed. Under Chu Yang's lead, everyone advanced towards the flat mountain ridge. Everyone knew in their hearts that they had to get rid of the traitor in the Chu clan. It was an urgent matter. As for other matters, there was no harm in dragging it out. Along the way, Mo Tianji looked for countless opportunities to explain to his younger sister. Mo Qingwu raised her nose and tilted her face. She ignored him. Along the way, the master of calculation and manipulation, Mo Tianji, was so anxious that he almost had blisters on his mouth. Finally one morning, Mo Qingwu came to Mo Tianji guiltily. "I'm sorry, second brother. I misunderstood you again." Mo Tianji felt as if he had been pardoned. He immediately laughed and waved his hand. "It's not your fault. It's all Chu Yang's fault." Mo Qingwu was furious. "The truth was told to me by brother Chu Yang last night. You're actually slandering him now." She turned around and left. Mo Tianji was dumbfounded. Chu Yang, who was at the side, laughed so hard that he almost fell down. However, Mo Qingwu's two misunderstandings towards Mo Tianji had been completely resolved by Chu Yang's method. Moreover, the anger that Mo Qingwu had towards Mo Tianji in her two lives had also unknowingly eliminated all her resentment towards him. Thinking of the tragedy of Mo Qingwu's previous life, Chu Yang still had some residual anger. But for Qingwu, Chu Yang still deliberately planned to completely eliminate her resentment towards her family complex. Next was the real highlight: the entanglement between him and Mo Qingwu in her previous life. Although Mo Qingwu had not completely recovered her memories of her previous life, Chu Yang could tell from her repeated dreams that Mo Qingwu's memories had already reached a critical point. Maybe she would really recover her memories at some point. From there, he would know that it was not a dream. At that time, he would face an unprecedented impact. And that day would not be too far away. The group sped all the way, ignoring the crowd that gathered in all directions. They directly broke through the crowd. Soon the flat mountain ridge was in sight. Then, they sped up like a gust of wind and entered the Chu clan's courtyard. Chu Feiling and Yang Ruolan were missing their son. When they suddenly heard that he was back, they were surprised and immediately came out to welcome him. The whole family also came out to welcome him. When the whole family met, the atmosphere was warm and lively. At night, after the family banquet, Chu Yang immediately discussed with his parents. In addition, old master Chu Xiongcheng was also present. "Traitor!" Chu Feiling was shocked. He and Yang Ruolan looked at each other. Yang Ruolan's face was a little pale. She thought of the existence of a traitor and the danger to the clan. This time, it was Dong Wushang, Rui Butong, Mo Lei and Mo Qingwu. Then what about the next time? Would it be her son Chu Yang? They must be eliminated. Yang Ruolan's appearance at this moment was like an old hen, frantically protecting her chick in the face of a fox's threat. All the feathers on her body stood up. Yang Ruolan would rather risk everything than let anything happen to her son, who she had lost and gone through all kinds of hardships to find back her son. Even if her son's cultivation had surpassed hers, in her eyes, her son would always be the same as the baby in her arms back then. Mother will use the most vicious means in the world to destroy any threat to your son. Who is the traitor? Chu Feiling asked. Chu Yang was silent for a while and said, I only need to ask one person. Then, I will know all the movements of the traitor. But, by then, I'm afraid. No matter who the traitor is. Since he has done such a thing, he is our Chu clan's mortal enemy. Old Master Chu Xiongqing said. The Elder Master has already passed the power of life and death to you. You can do whatever you want. Chu Yang was silent for a while and nodded. In the dark night, Chu Yang came to the residence of the Moon Breeze couple. Before he knocked on the door was already open. Yu Lingxue, dressed in a snow-white robe, stood tall in the courtyard, as if he was specially waiting for him. I know. As long as you know, you will come. Yu Lingxue's every movement was as suave as usual. Chu Yang smiled and said, "Greetings, Elder." Yu Lingxue laughed and let him in. Has Elder's body fully recovered? Chu Yang sat down. He asked. It has already recovered to its original state. But during this period of time, I stopped practicing. Yu Lingxue smiled. Yes. Chu Yang thought for a while, and took out 2 bottles made of purple crystal jade core. He placed them on the table. He said, I know what Elder is thinking. This bottle is the spiritual spring. It has evolved compared to the previous one. After consumption, it can adjust the body's vitality to the highest level. He smiled and said, As for the evolution of the spring of life, I only need to find one more person to catalyze it. By then, the wishes of both elders will be fulfilled. Upon hearing this, Yu Lingxue and Feng Yuro, who was in the inner chamber, were overjoyed. Feng Yuro came out like a gust of wind. Her face was a little red, but she still thanked Chu Yang. Thank you, little brother. Yu Lingxue laughed and said, Then what's in the other bottle? Chu Yang said, That's 1/2 kilogram of celestial wine. Celestial wine? Yu Lingxue asked with a frown. Yes. Chu Yang said, I got this by chance. This bottle is enough to increase the cultivation of an ordinary person by 2,000 years. Since both elders don't plan to practice now, it is also a good choice to keep it for the cleansing of the child's marrow in the future. It was more than just a good choice. The Moon Breeze couple was so overjoyed that they were a little stunned. They didn't have a child yet, but both of them were already full of hope. They had already started planning for the child's education, safety and other aspects in the future. Now that they had gotten this from Chu Yang, it was like a big pie falling from the sky. They could guarantee that their child would be an expert the moment he was born, as long as his aptitude wasn't too bad. With this bottle of celestial wine as a foundation, it would be easy for him to reach the peak of upper-grade supreme martial artist in the future. Feng Yuro was so excited that tears welled up in her eyes. She thanked Chu Yang deeply and kept it carefully. It's a little early now. Chu Yang was a little embarrassed. He said, But I'm afraid that I won't have this anymore by then. So I'd better leave some here first, in case I can't take it out when the time comes. It'll be very awkward, haha. Both the Moon Breeze couple understood what Chu Yang meant. They also smiled, somewhat rejoicing. Yes, what Chu Yang said was absolutely right. It was impossible to have too many of such things. And as the Tribulation Sword Master, Chu Yang had many brothers. His need for such things was even greater. Besides, he had a big clan. Therefore, what Chu Yang said about, I'm afraid that I won't have it anymore by then, was the absolute truth. Chu Yang took out another 3 pieces of souls of the purple crystal, and placed them on the table. He pushed them over lightly. 1 each for the 2 seniors and the future baby. Consider it my greeting gift. This time, the Moon Breeze couple really got a shock. Ever since he came in, the 3 items that Chu Yang took out were each more shocking than the last. In their more than 10,000 years of life, the Moon Breeze couple had never seen or heard of these 3 items before. The last item was actually the legendary soul of the purple crystal. Begging for monthly votes, I'm going to write the second update. Today is the 24th day of the 12th lunar month. Thinking that the spring festival is coming, my heart is filled with excitement. Suddenly, I felt poetic and wrote a poem. The spring festival is like a beautiful girl, walking all the way to me, as she walks, as she takes off her clothes when she's in front of me. Chapter 1390. Even someone as powerful as Yu Lingxue was also shocked by Chu Yang's generosity. Smart kids remember Network's super-fast hands looking at the soul of the purple crystal in front of him. Yu Lingxue only felt his mouth dry up. He was stunned for a moment before he came back to his senses. He let Feng Yuro keep it and said with a smile, You're still young. Surely this isn't a simple greeting gift? Chu Yang smiled slightly. It's not impossible to say that it's gratitude. After all, if not for the two of you, the Chu clan would have been destroyed thousands of times already. The two of you have contributed greatly to our survival till now. What Chu Yang said was the truth. If not for the Moon Breeze couple and Wu Juecheng, judging from Chu Yang's misdeeds outside, the Chu clan would have been long gone. Of course, if not for the fact that he had arranged for these three great gods to stay here, Chu Yang wouldn't have dared to be so impudent outside. After all, there was a huge difference between having worries and not having any at all. After Wu Juecheng left, the entire Chu clan was protected by the Moon Breeze couple. It was foolproof. Yu Lingxue said softly. Although we can't directly participate in the war to pacify the world, we can still look after the clan for you. His smile flashed with sharp sword intent. Of course, when it comes to the last step, we won't sit back and watch. I believe that the other side won't sit back and watch either. Chu Yang completely understood what he meant. The last step would be the final battle. When that time came, they would go up against all the supreme experts and law enforcement officers of the big clans that had been accumulated over tens of thousands of years. That battle was the true battle that set the mountains and rivers. A battle to settle the world. Yu Lingxue smiled. If it's because of these, I'm ashamed. We're just two patients who are lazing around here, waiting for treatment. The three of them laughed at the same time. There's one more thing that I hope you can help me with today, said Chu Yang. As if guessing what he was going to say, Yu Lingxue said, Speak. Traitor, said Chu Yang softly. Yu Lingxue smiled amusedly. Why did you come to look for me? Chu Yang chuckled. The Chu clan has been established for quite some time, but there are no experts in the clan. Not to mention there are no super experts. Therefore, even if there are traitors, they're stuck with their original methods. These people, Chu Yang smiled. With a mid-grade supreme martial artist here, as long as he's not in closed-door training, he won't be able to do anything. If that's the case, there won't be any movement within 1,000 miles that can be hidden from us. He narrowed his eyes and smiled. Senior is an upright person who knows how to repay kindness. Naturally, you would pay more attention to the movements of the Chu clan. Under such circumstances, it would be impossible for the traitor to hide from you. Yu Lingxue smiled. What Chu Yang said was absolutely right. Yu Lingxue had always been somewhat grateful towards Chu Yang. What's more, the couple's greatest wish depended on Chu Yang. How could he not care about the Chu clan? Under such circumstances, it would be strange if they didn't discover the traitor's actions. But that person's identity? Very awkward. Yu Lingxue smiled. Chu Yang frowned. It's your second uncle's widow. A cold glint flashed across Yu Lingxue's eyes. If it were anyone else, I would have dealt with them on the spot. Since it's her, it's not convenient for an outsider like me to make a move. Chu Yang's brows furrowed tightly. Chu Feilong's widow, Madame Wei. Yu Lingxue said indifferently. Other than reminding Dong Wuxiang before he set off, I didn't do anything else. There was a glint in his eyes. The encounter of tribulations is a training that will definitely happen. It's not good for me to interfere. Chu Yang smiled bitterly. Yet another person who was influenced by the theory of tribulations never dying. And this person was actually Yu Lingxue. How can one grow without experiencing wind and rain? Yu Lingxue said softly. A tree grows after a lifetime of wind and rain. A person who grows after a lifetime of bloodshed is a strong person. Chu Yang nodded. If there's time, I would like to meet this brother of yours. Yu Lingxue smiled. Chu Yang bade farewell to Moon Breeze and returned. His mind was churning intensely. Madame Wei was Chu Feilong's first wife, and gave birth to 3 sons for him. When Chu Feilong died, Madame Wei fainted from grief. But after that she didn't do anything. She was actually the traitor? Chu Yang suddenly recalled that his fourth uncle, Chu Fian, once sighed and said, Actually, your second uncle used to be a very good person. The 4 of us had always been very united. However, ever since your second uncle met your second aunt, things changed. Especially after they got married, many of your second uncle's actions were very incomprehensible. Your second uncle met Madame Wei outside when he was roaming the martial world. And it was from then on that your second uncle really became incomprehensible. And then he became more and more serious. As for your matter, it's hard to say. Back then, Chu Fian's words were very vague, and what he said was extracted from the conversation of the whole night. At that time, he didn't feel anything. But now that Madame Wei was exposed as a traitor, Chu Yang realized that Chu Fian had revealed a lot of important information to him. Madame Wei? Chu Xiongqing's face changed color. Are you sure? It was Elder Yu Lingxue who had been observing the Chu clan with his divine sense, and discovered it. Chu Yang said. During this period, Madame Wei went out several times. Twice, she released carrier pigeons outside the flat mountain ridge. The last time, she had a secret talk with someone in a tea house in the flat mountain ridge. After that, this attack happened. Chu Yang said with certainty. So Madame Wei is a traitor. There's no doubt about this. But what's worth thinking about is, if she's a traitor, which side does she belong to? Hearing that this matter was confirmed by Yu Lingxue, Old Master Chu was instantly speechless. If he still didn't believe Yu Lingxue's judgment, then there was no one else in this world worthy of his trust. Is there a need to guess? Old Master Chu blew his beard and glared. The interception was done by the Xiao clan. Of course, Madame Wei is from the Xiao clan. Not necessarily. Chu Yang shook his head slowly. At that time, Chu Feilong colluded with the Yi clan. And, all along, I didn't see any contact between him and the Xiao clan. Why did Chu Feilong die? Instead of contacting the Yi clan, Madame Wei contacted the Xiao clan first? Chu Yang said in a low voice. This is a big point of suspicion. Hearing this, Old Master Chu's expression changed. Firstly, speaking of Chu Feilong, Old Master Chu was still a little sad after all. Secondly, there were two dominant clans eyeing covetously at the same time. This pressure was also earth-shattering. How do you plan to deal with this matter? Old Master Chu asked. I'm thinking about it. Chu Yang said, but regarding the outcome, it depends on your opinion. Old Master Chu hesitated for a while, stood up and paced with his hands behind his back. After a long time he finally said, if she doesn't repent then let them reunite. After Old Master finished this sentence, he left in a huff. But from the low tone of the last sentence, Chu Yang could still tell that Old Master was sad. His second son had become a traitor. He died miserably. His two grandsons also died along with him. Now even his widow was also going to, if all of them were really gone then. Those that remained in this world. Only his grandson Chu Tingyan was left. At such a young age, he lost his parents and brothers. And all of them died in the hands of his own family. I really don't know how this 12 or 13-year-old kid can survive. Would he go mad with hatred because of this and walk down the same path as his father, Chu Feilong? Chu Feiling and Yang Ruolin were also a little dumbfounded. Chu Yang came out with a lot on his mind, and went to look for Mo Tianji. Such an intricate and complicated matter. Leaving it to this fellow would definitely bring out the best in each other. But on the way he met Yang Bao. Old Master Yang had specially waited here for a long time to look for Chu Yang. What are you busy with every day? You come and go like a ghost. Come, follow me. I have something to tell you. Old Master Yang pulled Chu Yang's collar and walked away. Slow down, I'm almost out of breath. Chu Yang was puzzled. Why was Old Master looking for him? He was prepared to pay a visit tomorrow, but he didn't expect Old Master Yang to come knocking on his door. Old Master Yang dragged Chu Yang into a room, where Grandma Yang was waiting for him. When she saw Chu Yang, she first praised him like a precious baby, before it was Old Master Yang's turn to talk about serious matters. Old Master Yang asked very mysteriously and seriously, what's your cultivation level now? Chu Yang rubbed his nose. I think I'm a third-grade supreme martial artist. Old Master Yang didn't expect his nephew to already be a supreme martial artist. He was stunned. After a long while, he clapped his hands and said, damn it! So strong! You're so damn fast! Chu Yang was speechless. A walking stick smashed down from behind Old Master Yang. Old Mistress Yang smashed Old Master Yang to the ground with her walking stick and scolded. Damn it! How dare you scold me? Old Master Yang got up from the ground and patted the dust off as if nothing had happened. He said angrily, I'm talking about serious matters with my grandson, don't interrupt. Old Mistress Yang snorted and said, "Don't scold people when you're talking about serious matters. If you dare to scold me indirectly again, I'll let you know how powerful I am." Old Master Yang grimaced and didn't dare to retort. He turned to Chu Yang and said, "Damn it." Chu Yang was speechless. He had never seen someone like this. Scolding my grandma, and now my grandma. What's wrong with me? Then Old Master Yang started to talk about serious matters. "It's about time. You can also ask the Moon Breeze couple for help at critical moments. Besides, it can't be delayed any longer." "Why?" asked Chu Yang. "Do you still remember what I told you about the Aspen Valley Purple Crystal Mine?" asked Old Master Yang. Then he said, "It's okay if you haven't heard of it. It's not too late for me to tell you now." Chu Yang was speechless. Old Master Yang took in a deep breath and said, "When we discovered it, we thought that it was just a small purple crystal mine. So no one paid much attention to it. But until last year, we suddenly dug out something from it. Then this old man immediately felt that something was wrong. If that's really the case, then this place isn't something that a mere Yang clan can occupy. What is it?" Chu Yang felt his heart beating faster for some reason, as if an earth-shattering thing was about to be revealed to him. This feeling made even Chu Yang himself feel rather baffled. Chapter 1391. Along with Chu Yang's agitation, the sword spirit in the tribulation space also became agitated. Smart kids remember Network's super-fast hands. Both of them were a little puzzled. What exactly was it that could make a sword master and a sword spirit so agitated? And it was just a vague feeling, yet it was already like this? Chu Yang's mouth became dry. He said, "Grandfather, did you discover a top-grade heavenly treasure?" Yang Bao glared and said angrily, "If it was just a heavenly treasure, wouldn't it be fine if I secretly kept it myself? Why would my whole family have to seek refuge in your place in such a sorry state?" The old master finally admitted that he had come to the Chu clan to seek refuge. Chu Yang said, "Then what did you find? Why are you being so cautious?" This time, Yang Bao didn't continue speaking. Instead, he sighed rather sadly. Looking up at the ceiling, he said, "At that time, we discovered a small amount of purple crystals there, and the Yang clan took root there. Poplar Valley got its name from that. For hundreds of years, it had always been intermittent. Sometimes, they couldn't dig up a single purple crystal for 3 to 5 months. Other times they had continuous harvests. But this bit of harvest was really negligible to the big clans. So even though the Shao clan knew about it, they were full of ridicule and disdain towards the Yang clan's mining." Chu Yang thought, with the Shao clan's wealth, they naturally wouldn't care about such a small purple crystal mine. Among the big clans, the amount of purple crystal mined in a day, by any one of them, was probably equivalent to 10 years of mining by the Yang clan. It was normal that they didn't care about it. If the Shao clan actually went to war over such a small purple crystal mine, that would be idiotic. And it would also appear that they didn't have any tolerance for others. It would be extremely detrimental to the Shao clan's rule in the southeast. But the Yang clan relied on this small purple crystal mine to develop gradually. Even though it was definitely impossible for them to become a big clan, it was enough to dominate a region. The importance of these purple crystals. Chu Yang thought of the vast amount of purple crystals stored in his space. He couldn't help but feel like, "I'm a rich man." Until one day, there were no purple crystals for 3 consecutive months. "I just wanted to give up on this purple crystal mine. It was really like chicken ribs, tasteless but a pity to throw it away." But at this moment, he dug out a huge strange purple crystal origin stone. This purple crystal origin stone actually couldn't be ground. At that time, I wanted to auction it off and stop mining the purple crystal mine. I wanted the Yang clan to live a peaceful life. But after I sold it, I couldn't bear to part with it. After that, the buyer was unable to open the stone. The buyer then put it up for auction. I don't know why, but I actually bought it back. Master Yang's face turned slightly red. At the side, old Mistress Yang spat in disdain and scolded. "Idiot! He sold it for 200 purple crystals, and actually spent 300 purple crystals to buy it back. How can there be such an idiot in the world?" Chu Yang was also dumbfounded. What a weirdo. It was definitely rare in the world. He couldn't bear to sell it, but when someone else sold it, he bought it back. Not only did he not make any money, but he also did not make any money. Instead, he lost 100 purple crystals. This kind of thing was indeed not something an ordinary person could do. Xu Yang suddenly gasped in amazement at the strength of his grandfather. Then a brother of mine happened to be there. We joined forces and borrowed the strength of that brother of mine. Finally, that thing was opened. Then we discovered that thing on your neck. Master Yang raised his eyebrows. Purple crystal jade essence. Xu Yang finally pieced everything together. The brother that Master was talking about is definitely Dukyu. Indeed, what Master Yang said next was exactly the same as what Dukyu said. Then, I thought, since there's purple crystal jade essence, then this purple crystal mine is still very promising. Maybe if I continued digging, it would actually be a huge purple crystal mine? So, I gave up on my original decision and continued mining. Master Yang's face was a little red. Obviously, he despised his own behavior of changing his mind. Xu Yang also sighed. How good would it have been if I had stopped at that time? Master Yang let out a long sigh. After that, the number of purple crystals mined increased. It could actually keep up with the clan's cultivation, and there was even a surplus. So I continued mining excitedly. The Xiao clan also took it as a joke. In any case, they didn't take it to heart. So last year, that day, Master Yang was a little hesitant. After pondering for a long time, he gritted his teeth and said, "The deeper we dug, the wetter it became." Then slowly a spring appeared. Spring water? Xu Yang was greatly surprised. He was wondering what it was. It was actually a spring water. The appearance of spring water in the mine saved us from replenishing our supplies. So everyone was thirsty. At that time, everyone present drank until they were full. Yang Bao revealed a look of fear. Then everyone went crazy. This person said that he saw a ghost. That person said that everyone in the world was a demon. There was even someone who said that there was a worm in his stomach, and he dug his stomach open. Xu Yang sucked in a breath of cold air. What kind of spring water could have such power? Then, we investigated in every possible way and did experiments. Only then did we realize that the problem was with that spring water. Yang Bao said with lingering fear. At that time, if it wasn't for your grandmother stopping me, I could also go up and drink a few mouthfuls. Old Mistress Yang rolled her eyes at the side and scolded in a low voice. Idiot! As long as one drinks this water, they will lose their minds. Even those with low cultivation will lose their minds. Yang Bao said somewhat hesitantly. My cultivation is also not high. Xu Yang almost burst out in laughter. Yang Bao stammered for a long time before he said. Then, we sealed that place and dug in another direction. Xu Yang was greatly surprised again. He thought that something would happen with this spring water. He didn't expect that it would change direction right after. We dug for another half a month. This time, we didn't dig out any spring water. Instead, we dug out 2 claws. Yang Bao sighed heavily. It was these 2 claws that brought about a disaster for the Yang clan. Just a little bit more. Even if the entire clan died in the hands of the Xiao clan. 2 claws. Xu Yang's eyes widened. What kind of claws can have such great power? Sigh. Master Yang said with infinite hesitation. It's all your uncle's fault. My uncle? Xu Yang was even more puzzled. What's going on? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Old Mistress Yang finally couldn't help but slap him. Hurry up and say it. Master Yang felt extremely wronged. Aren't I talking now? Don't interrupt. Xu Yang rolled his eyes. When those 2 claws were entangled together, one was so thick that it would take 2 people to wrap their arms around it. The other was much smaller, but it was still bigger than the known bird claws. That thick one, very majestic. Facing that claw, one wouldn't even dare to move. It was as if there was a primordial beast in front of it. It could tear one apart at any time. That thin one, it had colorful patterns all over, and was shining brightly. Both of them were lifelike. I examined them for a long time, but didn't discover anything. After I discovered it, I drew a sketch. So, I ordered someone to draw a sketch, and secretly sent someone to find out. Then, I discovered that one of the 2 claws was actually a dragon's claw, and the other was actually a phoenix's claw. Yang Bao took a deep breath. I was shocked at that time. Chu Yang was dumbfounded and almost couldn't speak. I was shocked too. The dragon race and the phoenix race had always minded their own business. Why would there be a huge dragon's claw and a phoenix's claw in a pit? Yang Bao swallowed his saliva and said with some lingering fear. Chu Yang was also considering this question. What reason could make a dragon? Why would a phoenix's claw not let go and even be buried here together? So, I searched through all the ancient records and finally found a book that said, although the Dragon Clan and the Phoenix Clan don't interfere with each other, the leaders of the two clans would meet at a place every once in a while to have some important discussion. And the place chosen by the leaders of the two races, according to ancient legends, was a place of auspiciousness. Yang Bao laughed bitterly. Back then, when the Yang clan chose Aspen Valley as the place to settle down, the geomancer once said that this place was auspicious and had the omen of auspiciousness. At that time, I only thought that it was a geomancer saying, dismissive. Who knew that it was actually really? Chu Yang was already speechless. He was already stunned. A place of auspiciousness. His head was buzzing full of this word. It was like a bolt from the blue, exploding continuously. The seventh fragment of the tribulation sword. A place of auspiciousness. The seventh fragment of the tribulation. Chu Yang had been so conflicted about this that he was about to have cerebral palsy. He didn't expect to actually receive such shocking news when he returned home. It was really a case of searching high and low for something, only to find it by chance. After a moment of dizziness, he said in confusion, "This kind of news should be kept strictly confidential. How could it be leaked? And even to the point where the whole family had to move to seek refuge?" Old Master Yang stomped his feet. "Isn't that so? At that time, only me and the two chief stewards knew about this. I reminded them repeatedly not to leak it out. And indeed it didn't leak out. It's all my fault for having such a cheap mouth." Master Yang slapped himself on the face. "My mouth is so cheap. One time after I drank, I actually told your uncle. Oh my God, if it weren't for the fact that you only have one uncle, I would have killed him to silence him." Chu Yang was flabbergasted. He broke out in cold sweat and shivered, begging for votes. "Gee, I was in the limelight for a while. Just now, I was still writing when 7 or 8 little boys actually ran up to the 5th floor and knocked on my door. When I opened the door, I immediately received an order. Time's up. Old Zhang, it's time to move. I escaped to write my story, begging for votes. RQ." Chapter 1392. Chu Yang was dumbfounded. He admired his uncle Yang Ruoxiong even more. To think that this guy could be so thick-skinned. Chu Yang immediately made a decision. If there were any important matters in the future, he must never let this uncle know. How is that dog of an uncle someone who can keep a secret? I was really blind. Back then, he kowtowed and swore that he wouldn't leak it out. In the end, he got drunk that night. The words about keeping it a secret were still ringing in my ears. But in the blink of an eye, the whole world knew about it. And this bastard is my biological son. Old Master Yang was miserable. With snot and tears running down his face, he beat his chest and scolded furiously. "Fuck him. Ah, that bastard." But when he saw old Mistress Yang's livid face, he swallowed half of his words. Smart kids remember network superfast hands. Chu Yang was completely convinced. "This works too? There's such a thing." Old Mistress Yang said disdainfully. "Look at how innocent you make it sound. You still have the cheek to talk about your son?" The two senior managers are afraid of leaking the secret, so they stay in the Yang clan compound and don't dare to go home. They usually don't meet people and keep the secret like an impenetrable fortress. Isn't it all your own fault? You keep asking others to keep the secret, but you're happily announcing it yourself. Where did you get the cheek? And you're still talking about your son. Didn't you also say the same to your son after you drank? Ruoxiong, come closer. I'll tell you a big secret. Don't tell anyone else." Old Mistress imitated him perfectly. Then she spat and scolded. "The old one is a pig. The young one is a bear. You two, don't talk about each other." Yang Bao pulled a long face and didn't speak. Black lines appeared on Chu Yang's forehead. From a series of black lines, beads of sweat emerged. Not only uncle. If there's anything important in the future, I can't tell grandfather either. This is really going to kill me. Old mistress took over the topic. She said angrily, "What a great opportunity to build a family business in the land of prosperity. Even the big clans don't have such good fortune. Now, it's in the hands of the Yang clan. As long as we continue to develop steadily, the Yang clan will prosper in a few decades or centuries. Become stronger and stronger? Becoming a feudal lord is just around the corner." If someone else got hold of Sun Lianmian's good news, even if they died, they wouldn't say a word about it. But in our family it's different. Outsiders didn't even have time to find out. But these two pigs actually announced it to the world. The most infuriating thing that made me want to kill myself was, after the secret was leaked, the two of us actually discussed the matter of who leaked the secret for an entire night. We suspected this and suspected that. Finally, we heard from other people that it was your stupid uncle who leaked the secret when he was drunk. To think that both of you looked so innocent at that time. This old woman really wants to vomit blood. Yang, that time when I came to see you, it was when that matter had just erupted. I used the matter of visiting my nephew as an excuse to avoid the limelight. Then a few months after I returned, the Xiao clan began to take action. Master Yang's face darkened as he was scolded. Occasionally, he would raise his head and shake his neck, turn around and look at the roof. There was embarrassment on his face, but it was definitely not unbearable. Clearly, this was not the first time. Master himself had already gotten used to it. Chu Yang held back his laughter and consoled her. "Grandma, please calm down. This is just a moment of carelessness. Cough, you can't blame grandfather and uncle." This sentence, it was really somewhat against his will. You instructed others to keep the secret, and your subordinates all kept their mouths shut. Yet you announced it yourself. Anyone who heard about this matter would also not know whether to laugh or cry, right? Chu Yang felt that if he was also involved in this matter, he would definitely vomit blood on the spot. Luckily, it happened in the Yang clan. If it had happened in other clans that weren't so thick-skinned, there was a high possibility that someone would have died. Old Mistress Yang said hatefully, "If you don't blame them, are you going to blame me?" Taking 2 deep breaths, Old Mistress Yang gritted her teeth so hard that they made grinding sounds. Yang, your grandfather and uncle are so stupid that even the heavens can't tolerate them. So stupid that they can't breathe. So stupid that even the heavens are angry at them. So stupid that even gods and ghosts are angry at them. What are they still alive for? Chu Yang hurriedly covered his mouth and lowered his head. If his reaction was a little slower, he would have burst out laughing. He hurriedly changed the topic. How did the Xiao clan do it? This was the main point. It wasn't as if the Xiao clan didn't have any sensible people. What if they discovered the tribulation sword? Although he knew that this kind of thing was not very likely to happen, Chu Yang was still somewhat worried. Old Mistress Yang sighed, exasperated at his failure to live up to her expectations. Originally, this kind of thing shouldn't be publicized by ourselves. Although the rumors were spreading everywhere, and we were nervous, the Xiao clan actually didn't care. After all, which clan's secret was leaked by the clan master? Although the news spread, the Xiao clan would only think that we were deliberately mystifying things at first. But later on, the Xiao clan sent people over. They found a few acquaintances to invite your grandfather for a drink. Seeing that he was drunk, they mentioned this matter. Old Mistress Yang looked up at the sky, completely speechless. Chu Yang blinked and asked excitedly, "What did grandfather say?" Of course, your grandfather didn't admit it at first. Old Mistress Yang looked as if she was about to vomit blood. He denied it. If he had said it right away, they wouldn't have suspected, and would have just taken it as a joke. But he denied it very nervously right away. Chu Yang was speechless. There were really countless ways to make up for it, but grandfather chose the stupidest one. The more he tried to cover it up, the more conspicuous it was. The rarest thing was that under that kind of situation, he didn't stop drinking even when others urged him to. Finally, he was completely drunk. Old Mistress Yang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She said, later on he was dead drunk. He patted his chest and swore in the name of 8 generations of his ancestors. When have I, Yang Bao, ever lied? If I say it's true, it's true. Chu Yang covered his face with his hands. What a weirdo. To be able to do this, grandfather Yang Bao was definitely a weirdo. One had to look up to him. He shone so brightly. With a mentally retarded background, he was surrounded by a halo of retardation. Now, this old thing actually has the cheek to push all the blame to your uncle. He's the main culprit. Old Mistress Yang roared furiously. Old Master Yang lowered his head, as if he was about to fall asleep. Later on, the Shao clan sent people to investigate secretly. And so, something that made me even more speechless happened later on. Old Mistress Yang sighed repeatedly. Even Chu Yang found it strange. At this stage, there was actually still something that made him speechless? What was it? Back then, after discovering the dragon claws and phoenix claws, this bastard actually didn't get rid of them immediately. He could have asked more people to bring them back home. Or he could have just blown up the mine and buried them underground. All we need is feng shui. But this old bastard actually didn't do anything. Old Mistress Yang had a conflicted look on her face. He just stood there underground, exposed. The moment the Shao clan people went there, they saw it. Chu Yang had a strong urge to vomit blood. If he allowed it, he felt that he could vomit all the blood in his body. There was actually such a thing. Then, the Shao clan started to take action. At least that bastard who tricked your grandfather still had some conscience. He secretly told your grandfather, "Hurry up and leave. Our clan's army is coming." Old Mistress Yang heaved a heavy sigh. At that time, your grandfather suddenly came to a decision. He immediately packed up and brought his whole family here to seek refuge. He completely disgraced me. You can't do anything else well. But you, this old bastard, are quite fast at escaping. Old Mistress Yang slammed her dragon-headed walking stick hard on the ground. She was so angry that her breathing quickened, and her face flushed red. Old Master Yang muttered, "Isn't it still not that long? It's only about a year or so. Discuss it with your nephew. Perhaps we can snatch it back." A year is not long? Giving birth only takes 10 months. Old Mistress Yang snorted. Chu Yang took a deep breath and said, "I need to discuss this matter with everyone. Snatch it back, we must snatch it back. But how exactly to do that needs to be planned. What a joke. Snatch it back. That's for sure. If I don't snatch it back, where am I going to find the 7th fragment of my tribulation sword?" Chu Yang left almost anxiously. Old Master Yang Bao heaved a long sigh of relief and praised. "As expected of my grandson. He's so attentive to our family's matters." Old Mistress Yang glared at him helplessly. "Why aren't you getting lost? Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough?" With a wave of her walking stick, Old Master Yang scurried away. Emo Tianji and Emo Qinggu were talking in the room. After the misunderstanding was cleared up, their relationship seemed to have returned to how it was in the beginning in an instant. Of course, what made Emo Tianji dissatisfied was that he had already taken a back seat in his sister's heart. The one on the front line was Chu Yang, who took advantage of the situation. This made strategist Emo extremely dissatisfied. Just as he was racking his brains to think of a solution, Chu Yang suddenly came in with a bang. "Emo Tianji, why aren't you in your own room? Why do you keep coming to Xiaowu's place?" Chu Yang was a little angry. This bastard. If not for the fact that you're Xiaowu's second brother, I would have kicked you out with a punch. This is my biological sister. Emo Tianji was also unhappy. Why did an outsider like you come in? Second brother. Emo Qinggu stomped her feet unhappily. How can you be so rude to big brother Chu Yang? Emo Tianji was inexplicably indignant. You only saw that I was rude to him? Then why didn't you say that the first thing he said when he came in was that he was rude to me? I have something urgent to talk to you about. Chu Yang grabbed Emo Tianji's collar and lifted him up. Then he turned around and left. Emo Tianji's neck was gripped, and he couldn't move. His face was red as he was being dragged out like a dead dog. He could vaguely hear Emo Qingwu's eyes shining as she said, "Big brother Chu Yang is so handsome, so domineering." Emo Tianji almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Not long after, in Emo Tianji's room, an uncontrollable scream rang out. It was Emo Tianji's voice. To think that there's such a thing. Cough, there are 2 chapters today. I'm going to set off firecrackers. Please vote for me. GRQ. Chapter 1393. In his room, Mo Tianji frowned as he listened to Chu Yang talk about the 2 matters. Smart kids remember network super fast hands, there's such a thing. Mo Tianji was shocked. He stood up and paced around the room. Chu Yang naturally knew that Mo Tianji was referring to the 7th fragment of the Calamity Sword. He was definitely not referring to the fact that Chu Yang had such a great-grandfather and uncle. Mo Tianji had always lacked humor cells. He liked to focus on the most important point. There is such a thing. Chu Yang sighed. Mo Tianji frowned and looked around. Then, he suddenly laughed and said, "Your grandfather and your uncle actually managed to survive in the Jianghu of the upper 3 heavens. This is really strange." Chu Yang frowned. "Let's not talk about this first. Tell me what you think." Chu Yang didn't know either. He came back to deal with the traitor. He didn't expect that this time. It wasn't just an urgent problem. It was 2. One was the traitor. The other was the 7th tribulation. Mo Tianji pondered and said, "We can't delay the Yang clan's matter. We have to act immediately. Although the Xiao clan won't find out, there's always a chance. If then we'll be in a passive position." With the 7th tribulation, Mo Tianji put the matter of the traitor to the back of his mind. "I know what to do. The problem is how to do it." Chu Yang said, "The Yang clan is less than 2,000 miles away from the Chu clan. To ordinary people, this distance can be said to be a long journey, but to experts, it is not worth mentioning. So, since the Xiao clan took over that place, they must be guarding against the Chu clan. It would definitely be heavily guarded. This time it will be a fierce battle." Mo Tianji thought for a while and shook his head. "Not necessarily. This time, we're in the land of Dragon and Phoenix bringing prosperity. The Yang clan only knows about the land of Dragon and Phoenix bringing prosperity. They definitely won't know about the Tribulation Sword." Mo Tianji said, "So they'll only dig in a large area. They have experts, but they won't necessarily be heavily guarded. As for what's down there, we'll only know when we get there." Mo Tianji said decisively. "But we still need to be fully prepared. This was an operation. It involved the dragons and phoenixes. Ao Shiyun and Rui Butong had to take the lead. Gu Duxing, Dong Wushang Luo Kadi Xiedanxiong GMO, and you and I will be the second wave. As for you, if you want to persuade the Moon Breeze elders, one of them will come along to hold the line. Then, there will be no mistakes." Chu Yang rolled his eyes. "Operation Tribulation has the Moon Breeze couple taking part in it, but it doesn't smell right. Besides, someone with this level of cultivation would break the balance. Since when has there ever been a peak-grade supreme martial artist taking part in a tribulation? For the path of tribulation, this is very important. It's a big taboo." Chu Yang wasn't talking nonsense. He had heard from Ning Tianya that people with their cultivation couldn't directly participate in the battle of tribulation's unification of the world. Otherwise, there will be serious consequences. The sword spirit had also reminded him many times that the path of tribulation was a path of training. The balance must not be broken. Mo Tianji rolled his eyes and said, "We didn't ask them to take part in any battle. We just invited one of their seniors to have fun. What does this have to do with tribulation?" Chu Yang coughed. Did this guy really know how to say that he wanted to invite one of them to go sightseeing? Just for fun? But it seemed like this idea wasn't bad. Mo Tianji looked at him, somewhat hesitant to speak. After coughing twice he said, "Actually, Chu Yang, we need to gain experience. This is the most important point. But it's just for experience. As the Tribulation Sword Master, don't you think that you've already surpassed the past Tribulation Sword Masters by too much?" Chu Yang said, What do you mean?" Mo Tianji took a deep breath and said, "During this period of time, I've looked up too much information. The Lan clan's database has basically been stored in my head. Among the past Tribulation Sword Masters, there were very few who could reach the level of a mid-grade supreme martial artist. And most of them stopped at the 3rd or 4th grade, 5th grade, 7th grade and 8th grade. And that's the final achievement after the Tribulation Sword Master. Mo Tianji's eyes flashed with wisdom. He said, I don't understand why it suddenly became so much more difficult when it came to our batch. There are also layers of obstacles. But it's undeniable that the average cultivation level of us brothers has already reached the level of a third-grade supreme martial artist. And you've only just obtained the 7th fragment of the Tribulation Sword. Mo Tianji said, I don't understand the Tribulation Sword Masters, nor do I understand the reason. But just on the surface, your achievements have already surpassed all the previous Tribulation Sword Masters. Like now, after everyone accompanied Rui Butong through the Phoenix's nirvana, Dong Wuxiang and Rui Butong have already reached the level of a 5th-grade supreme martial artist. They've become the leaders, and the other brothers have also reached the critical point. When you obtain the 7th fragment, the strength of our brothers will soar once again. By then, your 7th fragment will completely surpass all the previous Tribulation Sword Masters. Mo Tianji said, So, I keep feeling that you've long surpassed the scope of the Tribulation Sword. Or rather, you've long surpassed the scope of the Tribulation Sword in the Heavens continent. Without waiting for Chu Yang to speak, he continued, At this rate, by the time you obtain the 8th fragment, we'll be able to reach the level of the Moon Breeze couple. By the 9th fragment, where will we go? Where will we go? Chu Yang really didn't expect Mo Tianji to consider so far ahead. Based on your speed, how long did you take to obtain these few fragments? It took decades for the previous Tribulation Sword Masters to unify the heavens. The longest was close to 100 years. And how long did we take? At this rate, we'll be able to unify the heavens before we're 25 years old. Mo Tianji said quietly. And after that? Mo Tianji threw out a meaningful question. He said lightly, Do you know why I talked about the problem of the big clans when we were at the Long clan? Chu Yang frowned. I vaguely feel that our future doesn't lie here. Mo Tianji smiled. Chu Yang was shocked. He hadn't mentioned this before. But Mo Tianji had already felt it. Chu Yang took a deep look at Mo Tianji and said softly, Yes, our future. It's not here. Mo Tianji's eyes lit up and he smiled. Then, what about the traitor? Chu Yang asked. It won't be too late to deal with the traitor after we've dealt with the Yang clan. Mo Tianji smiled and said, She can be used by the enemy. If we manage it well, she can be used by us. A traitor is a treasure. A traitor is a treasure? Chu Yang grinned. Finding out the traitor is just a last resort. The best way is, we know she's a traitor, but we treat her as our confidant. In this way, as long as we use the right strategy, we can get things we couldn't get before. A traitor is just a tool of the big clans. If the big clans can use her, we can use her too. The key is how we use her. I like using traitors the most, especially the enemy's traitor. It gives me a sense of accomplishment. Mo Tianji gently smiled. He extended his hand and slowly clenched his fist. His eyes flashed coldly and he said, For example, the enemy's life. Chu Yang took a deep breath and said, That makes sense, but it doesn't feel good. It's full of obscenity. Get lost. Mo Tianji was furious. He pointed and said, Get out. Chu Yang glared at him unhappily. Then he swaggered off. Behind him, Mo Tianji smiled. Outside, Mo Qingwu's voice came, Brother Chu Yang, come here. Mo Tianji's face darkened immediately. He watched as Chu Yang disappeared with a whoosh. Mo Tianji cursed angrily. Beast. Then he looked up and sighed. He muttered, Looks like I won't be able to escape from this beast's clutches sooner or later. He was at a loss. What's the matter? Chu Yang asked, and pulled the little girl into his arms. Mo Qingwu didn't care at all. She leaned into his arms and said, Brother Chu Yang, what's wrong with little Snow? What's wrong? Chu Yang just remembered that after meeting Mo Qingwu, he hadn't seen the wind fox. Didn't you give me a lot of spirit beast cores last time? Then after coming back, the Moon Breeze elders knew that I was useful and gave me a lot too. Mo Qingwu said anxiously. I didn't pay much attention to it, and just left it in the room. Later, when I remembered and went to take a look, I realized that so many cores were gone. How many? Chu Yang's heart skipped a beat. There's 200. Mo Qingwu's black eyes swiveled around with uncertainty. The lowest is a 5th grade one, and there are a few 7th grade ones. The Moon Breeze couple gave me a few 10th grade ones, 2 11th grade ones, and 1 12th grade one. I don't have any more. Chu Yang's eyebrows twitched for a while. They've all been eaten by the little wind fox? Mo Qingwu said tearfully. It should be. As she spoke, she took out a white thing from her pocket. It was the wind fox. The little guy hugged its head with its 4 paws and slept soundly. It didn't move at all. Chu Yang suddenly realized that the wind fox already had 5 tails now, and a small part of the 6th tail had also grown out. It was like a rabbit's tail, sticking out of its butt. Chu Yang's eyebrows twitched again. This little guy, by the looks of it, should be sleeping to digest the medicinal effects. And it had already digested a lot. By the looks of it, the improvement this time was really not small. Once it woke up, it would probably be a very terrifying existence. After all, it had eaten a lot this time. Chu Yang was a little annoyed. Wasn't this guy too gluttonous? Wasn't it afraid of getting a stomachache? None of the past generations of wind foxes had been able to surpass the 11th grade. But this one in front of him had long passed the 12th grade and was now advancing. Could it be that this guy could actually reach the level of being strong and surpassing its ancestors? Create a historical precedent. Read more for the first time. G. Requesting monthly votes. I'll continue to write the second update. Can I get monthly tickets? RQ. Chapter 1394. Chu Yang scratched his head. Smart kids remember network super fast hands update he couldn't understand. If eating the inner cores of spirit beasts could help one advance so easily, then wouldn't other spirit beasts know? Based on this wind fox seemed to be a little different. But Chu Yang didn't know that since ancient times, how many spirit beasts could bathe in the primordial violet vapor. But when Chu Yang was in Tianji City, he also injected some into the wind fox's body. To the wind fox, this was simply a heaven-defying thing. He was only thinking that Chu Luer took out 7 or 8 11th and 12th grade spirit beast inner cores from the Yi clan, and they were all with him now. Chu Yang originally wanted to give them to the wind fox, but now it seemed that it was better to wait until this thing woke up. If this thing exploded, wouldn't Mo Qingwu cry to death? This was her precious treasure. But as he thought of this, a thought suddenly flashed across his mind. This thought flashed through his mind. Chu Yang was suddenly stunned and hurriedly caught it. After a long time, he finally remembered. Chu Yang couldn't help but touch his chin and laugh. Looking at the wind fox in Mo Qingwu's hand, he was deep in thought. Chu Yang suddenly thought that Mo Qingwu was ultimately an important part of him. Whether it was in the heavens or in the heavens in the future, she was indispensable. He couldn't be by her side all the time, but the wind fox could. Although the wind fox was powerful now, it might not be much when it came to the heavens. But if he started to increase the supply of inner cores now, would he be able to cultivate a unique divine beast in the heavens? If that was the case, wouldn't it be equivalent to having a super bodyguard by Mo Qingwu's side all the time? If it reached a certain stage, in that case, all of his worries would be gone. Chu Yang touched his chin and looked at this palm-sized thing. This was the first time he had spent so much effort on this thing. If he were to make such a plan, then from now on, he would have to collect a large number of spirit beast inner cores. The more the better. The higher the grade the better. He would raise the strength of this little thing at all costs. Chu Yang's eyes flashed, and he secretly made up his mind. Brother Chu Yang, you mean little Snow? Could it have eaten too much? Mo Qingwu said worriedly. Nothing will happen, right? These few days I've been so scared. What if little Snow's stomach suddenly bloats and then explodes? Chu Yang was speechless. The little girl's imagination was really rich. It's okay. Chu Yang comforted him. Little Snow is breaking through. When she wakes up, her strength will increase greatly. Mo Qingwu heaved a sigh of relief. Then she patted her small chest. She looked at Chu Yang with her watery eyes and said, That's good. Also Chu Yang, that saber you gave me, I only found out that day. It's really powerful. Seeing that Mo Qingwu had finally relaxed, Chu Yang's heart also inexplicably relaxed. However, when the little girl patted her chest, Her chest actually heaved up and down. Chu Yang's eyes immediately widened. All of a sudden, her mind was filled with thoughts that were not suitable for children. Mo Qinggu snorted. Her pearly white teeth bit her red lips lightly. She squinted her eyes and looked at Chu Yang like a little fox. She actually said in a sweet voice, "What are you looking at?" With that said, she took a step forward and exhaled a warm and sweet breath from her little mouth onto Chu Yang's face. Then she stuck out her small chest. He was very arrogant. In that instant, Chu Yang almost turned into a wolf. He couldn't wait to howl at the sky. "Oh my God, please spare me, she's so young. But I can't eat her. Isn't this going to suffocate me to death?" Chu Yang dared to guarantee that if he made any movements now, Mo Tianji would definitely rush in immediately. At that time, he would really be like a mutton that couldn't eat mutton, and would have a body full of mutton odor. But this little girl is seducing me. Where did she learn this from? Chu Yang resisted the urge to have a nosebleed. Suddenly he thought of this problem. He grabbed Mo Qingwu's hand and asked somewhat angrily, "Little girl, where did you learn this from?" Mo Qingwu's face immediately lit up like the morning sun. She lowered her head and didn't speak. Tell me the truth," Chu Yang asked. It's from the dream, idiot." Mo Qingwu's little face was as red as an apple. Her fingers pinched Chu Yang's waist very familiarly. She said somewhat breathlessly, "Bad guy, in the dream, every time you play tricks on me." Chu Yang groaned and covered his face with both hands. "Oh my God, Mo Qinggu even dreamed of those things? This is really." Mo Tianji, who was separated by a wall, also covered his face. At this moment, military advisor Mo was extremely angry. He hated it. His little sister at such a young age actually had erotic dreams for a man. What did this beast Chu Yang do in the past year, when he wasn't by his little sister's side? Chu Yang was speechless for a long time. His eyes were spitting fire as he said, "Little girl, don't seduce me anymore or else what do you dare to do?" Mo Qinggu had a victorious look. She raised her head high and looked at Chu Yang. Instead, she took a step forward. Her little chest was even higher. She said provocatively, "My second brother is here. What do you dare to do?" On the other side, Mo Tianji's face was full of tears. "I finally know that I still have such an important position. Although my second brother can't beat you." Mo Qinggu turned a little dejected. "Second brother is really useless." Chu Yang couldn't help but laugh. He gently pinched her nose. "Little devil, you're so mischievous." Mo Qingwu's face turned red. Looking at Chu Yang's face that was close at hand, she seemed to have thought of something, and her face turned even redder. At this moment, her eyes were hazy, and her shyness that seemed to want to look, but didn't dare to look was undoubtedly revealed. At this moment, under the candlelight, Mo Qinggu, who was dressed in red, was hesitant to speak. Her jerky but bold action was simply a charming little fairy. Her eyes turned, and there was an inexplicable sense of seduction in them. Chu Yang looked at her, and only felt his spirit waver. He was instantly lost in this deep affection. Chu Yang couldn't hold it in anymore. He hugged the little girl's slender waist. He pulled her into his arms forcefully. At the same time that the warm and fragrant jade was in his arms, he kissed her. Mo Qinggu was bashful. Suddenly her vision darkened. Then, she felt a face pressing down on her. She couldn't help but open her mouth in shock. Then her lips were sucked over. So it was big brother Chu Yang kissing her. Mo Qinggu panicked. She suddenly felt a burst of joy. She instinctively reached out to push him away. But just as she reached out, she was worried. What if big brother Chu Yang got angry? Before she could make a decision, a feeling that she had never felt before suddenly attacked her whole body. She felt her whole body go soft. She seemed to feel that there was a flexible tongue suddenly entering her mouth. Mo Qingwu's brain exploded. She felt as if her whole body was floating in the clouds. She was dizzy and didn't know what to do. She only felt that her body was floating up, floating and floating. That flexible tongue stirred in her mouth. Then, Mo Qinggu found that her lilac tongue was attracted. At the moment when the tips of their tongues touched, Mo Qinggu felt as if her soul was floating. She closed her eyes involuntarily. She instinctively tiptoed and welcomed Chu Yang. It was as if she wanted to crush her body in Chu Yang's arms to welcome Chu Yang's love. Xu Yang kissed the beauty in his arms carefully and gently. He felt as if he was completely lost. It was as if at this moment, he suddenly returned to the purple bamboo forest in his previous life. Suddenly, a kind of sad love rushed into his heart. He murmured vaguely, "Qinggu." "Qinggu," he hugged her tightly. His voice was full of sad and desperate love. It was as if he used all of his heart, all of his feelings, all of his life, to call out this name. A silent melody seemed to rise in Xu Yang's heart. It was endless and indistinct. It was as if someone was singing softly, and someone was dancing with the wind. "You and I once met. Thousands of rivers and mountains in the purple bamboo forest. I was down in the world, and your dance could topple cities. The bloody Jiang who road blocked your tenderness. How much love and hate, how much of the past. It was all in my heart, as red as blood. The road of the heartless swordsman, to Jun Wuqing. When I regretted that day, you were already a pool of blood. Who knew that I hated the earth and the sky? I wanted to hold your hand, but you were in the netherworld. How much love could only go with the wind, could only be hurried. I met you again in this life. How could I miss your face again? How could I miss your tenderness again? The world has a lover, and this life is not alone. When two people are in love, thank the heavens. In this life, I can finally hold you in my arms again. In this life, I can finally hold you in my arms again. Don't ask for Jun Qinggu. Qinggu is also about love. Gently dance with the moon, dancing with the vast sea breeze in the sky. I will dance with you in the mortal world and dance with you for life." Her voice was faint, and I don't know where it came from, and I don't know where it went. Xu Yang kissed Imo Qinggu. His heart was full of happiness, and it seemed like it was about to explode. In this land of happiness and satisfaction, tears rolled down his cheeks. Xu Yang had always been a strong person. In 2 lifetimes, the number of times he cried could be counted on one hand. There was almost nothing that could make him cry. However, only Imo Qinggu could easily hit the softest part of his heart, making him feel unbearably sad. Who would know that after missing out on a lifetime, he would carry that eternal regret, only to discover that he could start all over again, and meet again, and hold her in his arms again. That kind of feeling? Imo Tianji, who was next door, was about to rush over angrily, but then he heard Xu Yang's soft voice. That kind of soul-stirring and bone-deep love. Imo Tianji rushed out 2 steps and suddenly stopped silently. He sighed silently with a complicated expression. He looked at the silver-white moonlight outside the window, and stopped moving. Big brother Xu Yang. Imo Qingwu's hot cherry lips suddenly came into contact with something cool. She couldn't help but open her eyes from her intoxicated state, only to find that it was Xu Yang's tears. "You're crying." Xu Yang woke up from his endless dream, and finally confirmed that Imo Qingwu was indeed in his arms. He couldn't help but smile emotionally. "Yes, these are tears that I owe you." Imo Qingwu licked her little tongue lightly, and her expression became complicated. She recalled the ecstasy of the dream, and the saltiness of her tears sliding down her lips and flowing into her mouth. She murmured, "Xu Yang, your tears are also salty. I've been writing this chapter for a long time. I want to complain, but I feel like I have nothing to say. I can only say this, it's very painful to write. G. Seeking monthly votes. RQ." Chapter 1395. Xu Yang hugged her and lowered his head slightly, pressing his forehead against Imo Qingwu's smooth forehead. He said softly, "In this world, whose tears aren't salty, the taste of sadness, bitterness, and despair, whether it's an emperor, a general, a commoner, a demon, or a saint, are all the same." Imo Qingwu listened in a daze. Suddenly, she reached out her small hand and gently wiped away the remaining tears from the corner of his eyes. She said seriously in a low voice, "Brother Xu Yang, I promise, you won't be sad in the future. Smart children remember the net. Super fast hands update the net." She pursed her lips and said as if she was swearing, "I will never make you sad. Even in the next life." Xu Yang's heart shook. Looking at the little girl's serious expression, he wanted to say, "This sentence should have been said by me, but you beat me to it." But when the words reached his mouth, they turned into a gentle and satisfied sigh. He stared into Imo Qingwu's eyes and said wholeheartedly, I believe you. Mo Qinggu smiled brightly and nestled in his arms. She said dreamily, Brother Chu Yang, the feeling of being in your arms is really so blissful. It's as if I've been in your arms for all eternity. It's so familiar and intimate. The two leaned against the window and leaned against each other. For a long time, neither of them was willing to move or make a sound, for fear of disturbing the beautiful silence now. At this moment, Mo Qinggu gave herself to Chu Yang wholeheartedly, and Chu Yang also completely let down all his guard and completely relaxed. The only thing he could do was to enjoy this night with Mo Qinggu. Next door, Mo Tianji was already lying on the bed. He actually didn't practice martial arts tonight, nor did he plan anything. In fact, he had already fallen asleep. Faint snoring sounds could be heard. He seemed to have let go of the biggest burden in his heart. So, Mo Tianji also needed to completely relax for once. Mo Tianji, who was sleeping, had a happy and comfortable smile on his face. Unknowingly, the east was slightly bright. The night had actually passed. The morning wind blew over. Chu Yang and Mo Qinggu both felt a little cold. Mo Qinggu reluctantly raised her head from Chu Yang's arms, and then took 2 steps back. Looking at the wrinkles on Chu Yang's black clothes that her face pressed against his chest, she couldn't help but wrinkle her nose and said regretfully, It's dawn. Chu Yang also felt a little unsatisfied. That's right, it's daybreak. Mo Qinggu giggled. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something, and her small face turned red. She raised her head and quickly glanced at Chu Yang. Then she suddenly lowered her head again. Even her neck was red. She stammered for a long time before she said in a low voice, Big brother Chu Yang. You what? Chu Yang asked in puzzlement. I. Mo Qingwu tilted her head. Her face turned red, but she still bravely said, I like it, you kissed me. Chu Yang smiled dotingly and rubbed her hair. She whispered, Brother Chu Yang also likes to kiss you. Mo Qingwu's black and white eyes rolled. Then, when there's no one around, we'll kiss again. Chu Yang said excitedly, okay. His stomach groaned as he thought. She was always teasing him, yet he couldn't eat her. It seemed like he was going to suffer in the future. Did you know that when that kind of impulse comes up and you can't find a way to vent it, a certain place will hurt a lot? However, although he was a little beastly today. But Little Wu's first kiss was, Chu Yang licked his lips, and suddenly revealed a lascivious smile. It was very sweet. Minister Chu had endless aftertastes. Mo Qinggu obviously didn't have such concerns. The little girl was already giggling. She turned around and walked away. With her hands behind her back, she skipped a few steps in the room and said, And this saber you gave me, I really like it. It's nice and sharp, haha. He frowned. It's just that killing people is too disgusting. Then he smiled in relief. Fortunately, the saber doesn't get stained with blood. Otherwise it's really. Speaking of dreaming of a Qingwu saber, Chu Yang suddenly remembered. It seemed that now was the time to strengthen the weapons of his brothers again. At present, he really had a lot of heavenly treasures in his hands. And he even had gold essence and jade. After this upgrade, the weapons of his brothers would definitely be a level higher. He couldn't let those heavenly treasures rot in the tribulation space, right? Looking at Mo Qingwu's dreaming of a Qingwu saber, Chu Yang smiled. Little Wu, give me your saber. Chu Yang took out the gold essence and jade, and put them together with some other materials. He was about to get to work. The great battle was imminent. If the weapons could be upgraded to a level higher, it would be extremely beneficial to the brothers. In fact, Chu Yang was even thinking of using the souls of purple crystal and various heavenly treasures, as well as Shui Leihan's fine wine, to upgrade the strength of his brothers again during this period of time. Only then would he feel more at ease about this trip to Aspen Valley. Little Wu, go and call your second brother, Dong Wushang, Gu Duxing and the others over. Tell them that I want to reforge everyone's weapons. Mo Qinggu agreed and walked out briskly. In the tribulation space, the sword spirit who had been in seclusion all this time suddenly spoke. Lord Sword Master, the sword spirit said, I've been thinking about that strange spring water. Chu Yang was startled. He asked, what spring water? Oh, the spring water from the mines in Aspen Valley? The one that confuses people? The sword spirit said, That's right. Ever since old Master Yang mentioned this, I've been thinking about it. Now, I finally have some clues. The sword spirit's voice was rather low. If I'm not wrong, it should be where the evil illusionary jade crystal comes from. Wherever the evil illusionary jade crystal is, it will definitely give birth to a spring called Evil Spirit Illusionary Spring. Some people also call it Evil Spirit Illusionary Water. The water that the Yang clan drank should be the outermost spring water that seeped out after being diluted countless times. Chu Yang perked up. What do you mean? The evil illusionary jade crystal from the Great Elixir Land? Chu Yang was rather excited. If he could get the evil illusionary jade crystal, then wouldn't he have more than half of the Great Elixir Land? At present, he already had mysterious ice jade ointment, mysterious yang jade essence, heavenly poison jade crystal, mysterious jade spirit ginseng, wind and thunder heavenly heart and heavenly jade ointment. If he added the evil illusionary jade crystal, Chu Yang's saliva dripped from the corners of his mouth. Almost all of them. Only the ethereal heavenly crystal and mysterious heaven divine essence left? The Great Elixir Land has all kinds of effects. It's not necessarily to save people or help them. Instead, it has its own effects. And the evil illusionary jade crystal is the most special one, because the evil illusionary jade crystal can save people as well as harm them. For those who have lost their minds, are split or are dispirited, the evil illusionary jade crystal can heal them, and also make them worse. And the evil spirit illusionary water also has such an effect. However, it's still a little inferior to the evil illusionary jade crystal. As for the other Great Elixir Land's strange effects, I don't know about them. Now the people of the Yang clan have lost their minds after drinking that water. As far as I know in this world, other than the evil spirit illusionary water, there's no other type of water that has such an effect. Chu Yang nodded. He expressed his understanding. Suddenly, a light flashed in his mind. He said, "That's not right." The sword spirit said, "What's not right?" Chu Yang frowned. He thought for a while. He said, "This is the land of dragons and phoenixes bringing prosperity, and also where the seventh fragment of the tribulation sword is." But the sword spirit said, "Of course." Chu Yang said, "I remember you once said that when we were in Great Zhao, the seventh fragment of the tribulation sword will be accompanied by the appearance of the heavenly crystal spirit spring. And this heavenly crystal spirit spring is 100 times stronger than the vitality spring water. But now, if what you said is true, then this is the evil spirit illusionary spring. It's thousands of miles away from the heavenly crystal spirit spring. They can't be mentioned in the same breath. So does this mean that there's no tribulation sword here? Or, what you said back then was simply wrong?" Chu Yang frowned. The sword spirit smiled faintly. "Your memory is really good. Back then, I just said it casually and you remembered it completely." He paused and said, "This is the land of dragons and phoenixes bringing prosperity. As the name suggests, both dragons and phoenixes are here. And dragons and phoenixes are two groups of ancient rulers. Although they don't interfere with each other's business, they look down on each other. They can't be said to be mortal enemies, but they never get along. So dragons and phoenixes will never live together at any time. This is the reason. Dragons and phoenixes are the mascots of the common people on the continent. Even the emperor calls himself a dragon, and the emperor must wear a dragon robe. This is the reason. But there's a big mistake in this, and that is the pairing of dragons and phoenixes. Generally speaking, the emperor wears a dragon robe, and the empress wears a phoenix robe. It's a big mistake to think that they are a pair. There are also people who say that dragons and phoenixes symbolize the harmony between husband and wife. This is even more nonsense. Dragons and phoenixes are completely unrelated," said the sword spirit. Chu Yang humbly accepted the advice and said, "I understand." But he was puzzled. The sword spirit's reaction to the matter of dragons and phoenixes being equally famous was clearly too intense. Why was this? He was just a sword spirit. Why was he so? Chu Yang couldn't describe what he was feeling. It seemed to be indignation. Indignation? The sword spirit took a breath and said, "Also, dragons are actually not so upright. As the ancient saying goes, evil dragons and phoenixes. Dragons are lustful by nature and have a seductive nature. Chasing after beauty is the favorite of dragons, and they don't reject anyone. The extent of their lust is outrageous. So, this evil spirit illusory spring corresponds to the dragon race in the land of dragons and phoenixes, bringing prosperity. Also, dragons are naturally stingy. Every dragon is a standard money grubber. Also, dragons are narrow-minded and short-sighted. They are arrogant and think too highly of themselves. In my opinion, dragons are really the most detestable race. Phoenixes are different. Phoenixes are naturally upright and loyal. They have always been the most beautiful symbol. They are pure and noble, have a big heart, and have always been responsible for saving the world and benefiting the people. They are benevolent and righteous, and have noble character and unquestionable integrity. Xu Yang looked at the sword spirit with black lines all over his head. This guy, after infinitely belittling the dragon race, actually raised the phoenix race infinitely. He trampled the dragon race into hell, but raised the phoenix race into heaven with one hand. Today's update. I will continue to write and strive for a stockpile of chapters. Brothers, you are really cruel. 1,000 people voted, and more than 100 votes didn't let me rest. Boo-hoo. This is a good comparison. In an office building, everyone went to play during the new year. Some danced Yanko, some set off firecrackers, and I was the only one working overtime upstairs. Then there was a joyous atmosphere all around. Writing in this kind of situation is torture, don't you know? Chapter 1396. The sword spirit wasn't stingy with his praises for the phoenix. He went on and on for half an hour, but he wasn't done yet. All in all, the phoenix's nobility, benevolence, forgiveness, and righteousness caused it to be at odds with the dragon race. Therefore, in order to restrain the evil of the dragon race, there will naturally be a sky crystal spirit spring that can purify the world and eliminate hallucination poison. The sword spirit heaved a huge sigh of relief. Therefore, if there are evil illusionary jade crystals and evil spirit illusory springs in the dragon and phoenix bringing prosperity place, then there must also be misty heaven crystals and sky crystal spirit springs. Therefore, this time, if you can get the 7th fragment of the tribulation sword, you will be able to take 2 of the great elixirs for yourself. Xu Yang felt dizzy for a moment. He was even more certain that the sword spirit was definitely related to the dragon and phoenix races. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so agitated. At the same time, Xu Yang felt as if he had been hit by a huge pie that fell from the sky. This huge surprise made him dizzy for a moment. Smart kids remember network super fast hands 2 pieces of great elixirs at once, and 2 big exotic spring waters, and the tribulation sword, and the remains of the dragon and phoenix. If this wasn't a pie that fell from the sky, what was? Of course, this pie would only be his if he ate it. If the sky crystal spirit spring is combined with the spiritual spring water now, it will become the Holy Spirit spring water, which is 1 step higher than the spiritual spring water. With this buffer, when you want to get the spirit seed and catalyze the spring of life, the quality of the spring of life can reach the most perfect level in an instant, or even exceed it. The sword spirit said, "When that time comes, you will have a unique treasure in your hands." Xu Yang's eyes lit up. In that case, this place of dragon and phoenix bringing prosperity is actually so good. The sword spirit said, "This is the real place of dragon and phoenix, but it's not bringing prosperity. Instead, when the world was destroyed, the leaders of the dragon and phoenix races had no choice but to join forces. When they fought against that mighty figure who could fold the heavens, they failed here. That's why there's such a strange phenomenon." The sword spirit said, "Dying together with a dragon is really something a phoenix can't tolerate the most." Xu Yang was speechless. Evil dragon. Dying together with a phoenix is simply tarnishing the phoenix. The sword spirit said hatefully, "Oh right. If you hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have remembered it." The sword spirit said, "Speaking of evil, look at your brother Tribulation. Ao Xieyun is a dragon. One could tell from his name that he was no good. There was a word evil in his name, but Rui Butong was different." How humble was it to directly say that he didn't know anything about it. Modesty is the greatest virtue. Chu Yang wanted to faint. This could be explained in this way. He didn't come up with this name himself, right? Besides, after interacting with him for so long, why can't I see the slightest bit of modesty in Rui Butong? I only saw this guy being arrogant and domineering. Moreover, although Ao Xiaoyun's name had the word evil in it, he wasn't evil at all. Other than being a little stingy, but this kind of stinginess was relative to his own brothers. However, he was definitely not stingy. The sword spirit's words were obviously biased. Mo Tianji and the others had already arrived while Chu Yang was talking with the sword spirit. In their eyes, Chu Yang had lowered his head. It seemed as if he had sunk into a state of deep contemplation for a long time. Therefore, no one dared to disturb him. They all quietly waited at the side. "What is boss doing?" GMO muttered in a low voice. "He should be thinking about something." Rui Butong was full of himself. Actually, this couldn't be blamed on him. Right now Rui Butong was full of smugness. Originally, he was among the brothers. He was the one at the bottom. Now, he had become the one with the highest cultivation. Even Gu Duxing's cultivation wasn't as high as his. How could this not make Rui Butong ecstatic? If Chu Yang hadn't gathered everyone here for something, Rui Butong would have challenged him long ago. In fact, he had even thought of a slogan. "Second brother Gu, come, let me teach you a lesson. I'll beat you into second brother soft." Ao Xiaoyun said. "Are you thinking about something else? Is boss feeling melancholy?" Rui Butong smiled. "Boss is thinking, why is Xie Danqiong a rabbit? Why isn't Ao Xiaoyun a rabbit?" Ever since this guy learned about the situation back then, he couldn't stop talking about it. He had practically become a warmonger. Along the way, he had already fought with Xie Danqiong several times. This time it was even worse. He even brought Ao Xiaoyun into the picture. And for some reason, once he said this to belittle Ao Xiaoyun, Rui Butong suddenly felt very good. He had a feeling of a surf singing a song. It was as if the clouds had been pushed aside to see the blue sky. It was too good. That was the kind of extreme pleasure that came from the soul to the spirit, and then back to the body. With such thoughts in mind, Rui Butong added, "Maybe Ao Xiaoyun has long been a rabbit." Back then, he was together with Meng Luo for such a long time. Everyone knows that Meng Luo is a pervert. Maybe Ao Xiaoyun has long been. Ao Xiaoyun was pissed. He exploded at once. He rushed up at once. Rui Butong was waiting for this moment. He shouted, "Watch me beat the rabbit up." With a somersault, they were instantly engaged in a fierce fight. Ao Xiaoyun was only a third-grade beginner supreme martial artist now, while Rui Butong was already a fifth-grade supreme martial artist. Under the suppression of absolute strength, Ao Xiaoyun was beaten to the ground in just a moment. By the time Chu Yang opened his eyes, Ao Xia had already turned into a pig's head. When Chu Yang opened his eyes, he realized that there was a huge commotion around him. When he turned to look, he couldn't help but believe the sword spirit's words a little more. Wasn't this right beside him? And a dragon and a phoenix were fighting like a litter of pigs? Facts spoke louder than words. But this was only the sword spirit's side of the story, and it was very biased. He would have to see the land of dragon and phoenix bringing prosperity before making any plans. Ao Xiaoyun limped forward and hugged Chu Yang. He wanted to cry but had no tears. "Boss, you have to help me. I also want to become a fifth-grade supreme martial artist." Chu Yang was stupefied. He almost burst into tears. "Xiaoyun, it's not just you. I also want to become a fifth-grade supreme martial artist." Ha ha ha. The few of them laughed. "Stop fooling around. Take out your weapons and tell me what you want." Chu Yang said seriously, "The battle is imminent. Let's settle the hardware first." The first was of course Gu Duxing. With a flip of his hand, the black dragon sword appeared in his hand. "Boss, I don't need it to be sharper. I just need it to be tougher, so that my black dragon won't get hurt easily. There's no need to change its length, width, or thickness. It's okay to make the sword a little heavier, preferably 23 to 24 kilograms." Chu Yang focused his eyes on the black dragon sword. He saw that the sword was shining all over, and a sense of joy and gratitude seemed to be faintly spreading. Gu Duxing's first request wasn't to kill the enemy. It was to take care of his sword. This made the black dragon sword, which had already begun to develop a spiritual nature, react naturally. A sense of relief and joy, the kind of feeling of a gentleman dying for a bosom friend, filled it at once. Gu Duxing himself didn't expect that his first request would make his divine weapon completely integrate with himself. Gu Duxing couldn't sense it, but Chu Yang's and the sword spirit's combined divine senses could sense it completely. The sword spirit sighed. Another true godly weapon has appeared in the world today. As a sword spirit, he naturally knew what the fluctuations of the black dragon sword represented. If a sword had a spirit, it would have a heart. If a heart, it would have a soul. If it had a soul, it would need to belong and attach itself to it. And the black dragon sword, an ancient divine weapon that had gone through who knows how many generations of masters, finally and completely recognized Gu Duxing at this moment. From this moment on, in the whole world, only Gu Duxing could use the black dragon sword. To put it inauspiciously, if Gu Duxing died one day, then this black dragon sword would also explode at the same time. This was a real spiritual sword. The second was GMO. I also want to strengthen my sword. It's best that the weight doesn't change. If it can be dozens of times sharper, of course it's best. Chu Yang rolled his eyes at him and said, "Put down the sword. Get lost and wait at the side." GMO didn't care about his impoliteness at all. He put down the sword and excitedly went to the side, sighing. Abwa hasn't abused me for a long time. He actually missed the abuse very much. All the brothers were speechless. Dong Wushang stepped forward. My dark saber has been a little light recently. It's better to be heavier and stronger. Chu Yang raised his eyebrows. The others also had a look of disbelief on their faces. 570 kilograms, you still think it's light? How heavy do you want it to be? Asked Chu Yang. 1,500 kilograms should be the most suitable. Of course, if it's an 8th grade supreme martial artist, if it's only this size, 1,500 kilograms, that would be the best, said Dong Wushang proudly. All the brothers were shocked. 1,500 kilograms. This guy really dared to say such things. Chu Yang agreed very readily. Okay, the original shape is the same. 1,500 kilograms, I'll do it for you. Dong Wushang was overjoyed. Thank you, boss. Next, Luo Kadi also requested a sword. Ao Sheyan also asked for a sword. Rui Butong, on the other hand, requested, I don't need an increase in quality. I still want the original short sword with some flaws. Give me another 1,000 kilograms, that's fine too. Ao Sheyan said fiercely, what do you want so many for? Are you going to stick them in your, but like a phoenix's tail? Chu Yang and the others laughed. Ao Sheyan's words were really a stroke of genius. Xie Danxiong naturally still wanted to make viburnum flowers. Furthermore, the Duke of Viburnum Flowers raised a request. Can you make me different colors, different weights like that, 8 or 10 sets? Chu Yang agreed readily. Mo Tianji said, Danxiong's viburnum flowers are best used when people are least expecting them. I suggest that you get a sword to fool people. Also, the sword can't be too inferior. Xie Danxiong felt that it made sense. He kept praising Mo Tianji, saying that he was indeed a sly man of his generation. He was indeed vicious. Finally, it was naturally Mo Tianji. I want to refine the fan. It would be best if you could give me a good purple jade flute that can be used as a weapon. I also want a sword. The sharper the better, and it must be light. It would be best if it's not even 50 grams. Lastly, I also want 2 hidden swords, 2 blades for the bottom of the boots, a soft sword for the waist, a rebounding blade for the back, and 2 triggering swords for the chest. The series of requests made all the brothers admire him so much that they wanted to prostrate themselves in admiration. Sly people are indeed sly people. I can't compare. Recommended a new book, Bandits Rule the World, a Xinxia novel. Those who are interested can go and take a look. Chapter 1397. Chu Yang also clicked his tongue. Smart kids remember network super-fast hands. These weapons that Mo Tianji wanted were all used for surprise attacks. When they were forced into a corner and attacked by the enemy, they could also automatically rebound to kill the enemy. It was obvious that Mo Tianji was preparing for the future. Chu Yang busied himself, for an entire day, to fulfill his brother's strange requests. It was finally completed in the end. The gold essence jade was used up, and the other few pieces of top-grade meteoric iron and strange ores were also almost used up. After calculating for a moment, he realized that he had used up a total of 70,000 kilograms of strange metal to completely refine the essence. This time, the Calamity Sword didn't participate in the absorption. It absorbed all the essence of the golden crystal iron into the weapon. Other than Rue Budong's, which was made to ensure sharpness and rough craftsmanship, everyone else did their best. Xu Yang was very confident that Gu Duxing's Black Dragon Sword, Dong Wushang's Dark Saber, Xie Danqiong's Viburnum Flower, Ao Xian's Dragon King Sword, Mo Tianji's Purple Jade Flute, and Mo Qingwu's Dreaming of a Gentle Dance Saber could become weapons with spirituality. As for Ji Mo's and Luo Kadi's swords, it would depend on how well they communicated with their weapons. If they didn't communicate with their weapons, even if they held a divine sword in their hands, it would still be cold metal. It wasn't that the material wasn't good enough. What was worth mentioning was Mo Tianji's Purple Jade Flute. Out of consideration for his uncle, Xu Yang made it completely of purple crystal jade essence, and even mixed in 2 pieces of souls of the purple crystal. Mo Tianji loved the purple jade flute so much that he couldn't put it down. He put it to his mouth and blew. The sound of metal and stone pierced through the air. Mo Tianji was overjoyed. Mo winked and came forward. "Brother Ji, how does it feel to blow the flute?" Mo Tianji was delighted. Without thinking he said, "Great. Very great." Mo laughed. "Then why don't you blow it for me?" Mo Tianji's face turned pale. He was careless and fell for this little trick. Xu Yang and the others laughed. Mo Tianji took a deep breath. He said to Ao Xian, "Xian, weren't you curious about where that extremely bright gem of yours went?" "Danqiong, do you know who was the one who scared your wife to tears at your husband's party?" "Du Xing, do you know who came up with such a bad idea to disturb the bridal chamber on your wedding night?" "No, I won't say anything else. GMO often laments. Without Rue Butong by my side to take a beating, my hands always feel itchy. Little wolf, it's been hard on you to call him brother every day. What are you doing up in the middle of the night?" "All of us know." "Who said so?" Wu Shang, someone is very arrogant. He said that he had suppressed Dong Wushang and seized the position of third brother. It is said that he once said that even saber supremacy could only eat his fart behind him. I don't know who this person is. I don't know what you guys think about many things, but if it were me, Mo Tianji, I wouldn't be able to tolerate it. Suddenly, the heavens and the earth in the rear courtyard fell apart. Everyone looked at GMO. It was as if they had seen an irreconcilable enemy. GMO's complexion turned yellow in an instant, and he almost started crying. Under the fierce gaze of this brother of his, GMO's legs went soft. Second brother Mo. "Woo-woo. You don't have to be so vicious." Aye, he didn't finish speaking. He wanted to run away. "Beat him up." It was unknown who shouted. Following that, his brothers swarmed over, and in a few moves, he was overthrown to the ground. Then, a series of pi-pi-pa-pa-pu-pu tong sounds rang out. His voice was hurried, like the wind blowing and rain hitting the banana leaves, but it was a little rough. Mo Tianji leisurely fanned himself with his folding fan. "We are all brothers. Don't hit him too hard. Moreover, beating him once would be too easy for him. Let's take it slow and steady. Let's come up with a few different tricks every day, so as to avoid making second master Ji uncomfortable and letting third brother Ji take advantage of him. Presumably he wouldn't be happy about this." GMO screamed at the top of his lungs. "Second brother Mo, what kind of deep hatred do I have with you? I just said one wrong thing." Mo Tianji smiled in a carefree manner. After a long while, Mo Tianji fondly played with his new weapon. He was enjoying the sight of GMO getting beaten up. Meanwhile, Xu Yang was wholeheartedly modifying Dreaming of a Gentle Dance Saber for Mo Qingwu. Mo Qingwu sat next to Xu Yang with her hand on her cheek. She was completely focused. At first, she was still looking at the changes of the saber. Later, she was looking at Xu Yang's face. It had to be said that a serious man, who was completely focused on doing something, was extremely charming. At this moment, Chu Yang was exactly like this. The little girl blushed. But she still couldn't help but look. At first she was secretly looking. Then, she blushed and lowered her head. Later she looked openly. After a long time again, GMO was crying in snot. He stuck out his pig-like head and said, "Brother Tianji, I was wrong. Second brother Mo, I was wrong. I've changed. I'm really not human. Please be magnanimous and let me go. Just treat me like a fart and let me go." Mo Tianji studied his fan, his flute and his sword seriously. He turned a deaf ear to GMO. He just didn't look at GMO. At night, Mo Qingwu's saber was finally completed. Moon Breeze also came over at Chu Yang's invitation to have dinner with Chu Yang and the others. Everyone was sitting at the banquet table. Only GMO was being ostracized. Wherever he sat, he would be attacked. So he had no choice but to compromise and take a big bowl. Then he picked some food with his chopsticks and carried it to one side to eat. Dong Wuxiang stretched out his hand and broke off a piece of the big bowl. GMO looked around pitifully. No one paid him any attention. Knowing that he had angered everyone, he swallowed his anger and squatted at the side to eat. Everyone was laughing in their hearts, but deliberately ignored him. They looked at each other from the corner of their eyes. He was like a beggar begging for food at the foot of the wall. A beggar who had just been beaten up. Rui Butong finally couldn't hold back and challenged Gu Duxing. In his mind, he should challenge Gu Duxing first and then big brother Chu Yang. Although he would definitely be caught up, or even surpassed by these guys in the end, Rui Butong wanted to leave behind a glorious memory now. His memory this time was extremely glorious. Gu Duxing had used the newly forged and strengthened black dragon sword to pierce more than 300 holes in her clothes. More than 100 of them were bleeding. Even the belt of her pants had been cut. The black dragon sword seemed to be alive as it circled around Rui Fenghuang's little brother. Cold sweat broke out on Rui Budong's forehead. His little face was sallow with fright. When Gu Duxing finally sheathed his sword, Rui Budong had already changed from a phoenix to a dragon, the azure dragon. If Gu Duxing was already like this, how would Rui Butong still dare to challenge Chu Yang? Rui Butong, who was scared out of his wits, went to change his clothes while trembling with fear. He kept thanking the heavens. It was all thanks to second brother Gu's good swordsmanship. Otherwise, if he had made a mistake, he would have become a sinner of the Phoenix clan. After the meal, Yu Lingxue was in high spirits. He exchanged blows with each of the Tribulation brothers. Then it was 2 people in a group, 3 people in a group, and finally, all of them together. In the end, of course, they were all defeated. Supreme Martial Artist, Yu said excitedly. Not bad. You actually made me take 2 steps back. This sentence made the proud Lord Sword Master and all the brothers speechless and ashamed to the extreme. Mo Tianji was in charge of the battle tactics. Long after the fight, Rui Butong and Luo Kadi were still lying on the wall like dead dogs, not moving at all. These 2 guys were in charge of groping. In short, all the dirty tricks were done by the 2 of them. Therefore, it was a tragedy. In the second half of the night, amidst the laughter, Mo Tianji began to arrange the battle. Under Jimo's shameless request, bowing and begging, Mo Tianji showed mercy and allowed GMO to be the first to go, allowing him to escape from the sea of bitterness. Before Jimo's cheers died down, Mo Tianji added another sentence. Gu Duxing and GMO will go together and take care of each other. Jimo's face turned flat on the spot. Among all the brothers, he was not as afraid of Chu Yang as Gu Duxing. Chu Yang usually just said a few words, but Gu Duxing directly attacked. Back then, when Second Master Ji successfully joined the Heavenly Armament Pavilion, he was beaten into it by Gu Duxing. Although Chu Yang had some doubts about this arrangement, he did not ask. Instead, he secretly transmitted a few words to Gu Duxing. He still remembered that Mo Tianji said last night to let Ao Xieyun and Rui Butong go first. Why did Mo Tianji change his mind today? Gu Duxing and GMO set off very quickly. Only in the afternoon did Mo Tianji set off with Chu Yang and the others. They went out of the Chu clan's gate with great momentum. Yu Lingxue followed at the back, holding the line, invisible and formless. Why did you let Duxing and GMO go first? On the way, Xu Yang found an opportunity. I originally wanted to let Ao Shiyun and Rui Butong go first, but, after thinking about it, although they are from the dragon and phoenix races, it might not be a good thing for them to go, said Mo Tianji. Why? Xu Yang was confused. Wouldn't the dragon and phoenix races complement each other? If they went to the land of dragons and phoenixes bringing prosperity, why was it not a good thing? There are skeletons of dragons and phoenixes there, and their power should be complete. Mo Tianji's expression was solemn. If Ao Shiyun and Rui Butong were to sense the force field there, I'm afraid it would harm them instead. Xu Yang immediately understood what Mo Tianji was worried about. The land of dragons and phoenixes over there might not have no connection with the dragon and phoenix races. If there was really no connection, Ao Shiyun and Rui Butong would have the same effect as the others. But if there was really a connection, Ao Shiyun and Rui Butong could sense it. But the enemy might also sense them. If that was really the case, it would be like sending sheep to the tiger's den. If we go this time, the traitor will realize that we are no longer in the Chu clan by this evening at the latest. Based on the invisible falcon's speed, the Xiao clan should be able to get the news by tonight. Mo Tianji said in a low voice. What will they do when they get the news? I wish everyone a happy new year. After staying up all night, I finally finished writing. I'm going back to my hometown to celebrate the new year. I wish everyone a happy new year. GRQ. Chapter 1398. Xu Yang pondered. If I were the Xiao clan, I would beat them at their own game, and set up an inescapable net in front of the dragon and phoenix claws in the mine. Of course, we also need to increase our vigilance outside. We need to use strict vigilance to numb the enemy, and make them fall into a trap to kill them. Mo Tianji smiled. Yes, so we need to slow down. Firstly, we need to give Duxing and GMO time to investigate first. Secondly, we need to let the Xiao clan set up the trap first. Then we need to give them 1 day and 1 night to prepare. On the third night, we need to create some commotion to let them know that we are already there, and about to fall into the trap. Then, we can destroy the Xiao clan's camp directly at the time, when they guess that we are going to act. Xu Yang's eyes lit up. Brilliant plan. Mo Tianji smiled sinisterly. This plan depends entirely on whether the traitor is responsible. Xu Yang laughed silently. Wei clan hated him to the core. Not being responsible was the strangest thing. GMO and Gu Duxing continued forward. Along the way, GMO was extremely obedient after being disciplined by Gu Duxing. He did whatever he was told. Even so, he was still beaten up 8 times. Useless thing. You have embarrassed me, second brother Gu said. I don't blame you for playing a prank on my wedding night. I also didn't beat you for others. I just beat you for being useless. Even Rui Butong is a 5th grade supreme martial artist. You are only 2nd grade. And only 2nd grade. Gu Duxing was furious. GMO lowered his head, his face full of shame. Gu Duxing had the right to say so. Because, even if Rui Butong was a 5th grade supreme martial artist, and Gu Duxing was only a 3rd grade supreme martial artist, Gu Duxing still beat Rui Butong up in front of everyone. If it was GMO who went up, it would probably only take half a breath. Although Gu Duxing beat and scolded GMO, among the brothers, he was the closest to GMO. This continuous beating and scolding was also extremely exasperated. GMO forced a smile. Second brother, as you can see, I also feel that Little Wolf and I are still a little low among our brothers. He sighed deeply. When it comes to aptitude, the 2 of us are somewhat lacking. Now Big Brother and Second Brother are sword supremes. Dong Wuxiang is saber supremacy. Mo Tianji is a divine strategist. And Rui Butong has the phoenix bloodline. Ao Shiyun has the bloodline of the dragon race. Although Xie Danxiong doesn't have any special bloodline, once that viburnum flower appears, even you and Dong Wuxiang have to be cautious. In fact, they might even have to retreat. Only the wolf cub and I are left. GMO is somewhat desolate. Our aptitudes aren't high. And we don't have any special bloodline either. Nor do they have any outstanding specialties. Second brother Gu, you also know that some time ago, Little Wolf actually cut off all of its flesh and blood, in order to practice martial arts. He practiced until he fainted. I, your little brother, also wish that I could pull out every single bone in my body to practice martial arts. But, talent. GMO looked up at the sky and sighed. The two of us. I know him, and he also knows me. We haven't slept for half a year already. Working so hard, we can only barely keep up with the rest of the brothers, and then break through with the help of Big Brother's strength. GMO hung his head dejectedly, and said in a rare heavy tone, Second brother. Everyone practiced together, and all of you advanced by 10 feet. I could only move by 2 feet. Everyone wanted to rest, so the wolf cub and I secretly got up. The two of us took turns massaging each other to relax, and then we started. All the time, all the energy. Because of this, Luokadi didn't worry about marriage anymore. But we still couldn't keep up. Sometimes, I really want to die. Before he finished speaking, his butt was kicked hard. Gu Duxing scolded angrily. You want to die? Sure. If you want to die, then hurry up. I'll watch you die. Don't dilly-dally. GMO pursed his lips, and tears actually flashed in his eyes. After a long time, he suddenly threw himself onto the ground and cried loudly. Gu Duxing's eyes flashed with tears, but he pursed his lips and controlled himself from comforting him. Comforting him at this time would only make him weaker. The most difficult part of a man's heart could only be walked by himself. GMO cried very sadly, very repressed. A young talent, talented and enlightened. It could be said that GMO was already the idol of all the youths in the world. At the age of 21, he was already a second-grade supreme martial artist, facing a tribulation. With such cultivation, no matter where he stood, he would be the idol of everyone. However, he could not do it with his own brothers. Compared to his brothers, he was still very weak. GMO was also a proud person. How could he tolerate it? He had been repressing it all the way until now, and he couldn't take it anymore. I don't know if everyone can understand this feeling. For example, it's like going to school. A person in an ordinary school is always the top. But when he finally gets into a key high school, he realizes that there are geniuses everywhere, and almost everyone is stronger than him. This is a kind of torture. Let me say this specifically. At that time I was like this. If I couldn't defeat myself, it would really be a kind of destruction. And at that time, I didn't defeat myself. Sigh, I'm too long-winded. I'll add another 200 words in this chapter. I'm useless. I feel like I can only exist as a clown among my brothers. GMO cried loudly. Gu Duxing stood in front of him with a cold face and black clothes, watching him cry, not moving at all. After a long time, GMO's crying gradually quieted down. Are you done crying? Gu Duxing asked coldly. GMO wiped his tears. Sobbing, he said, I don't want to cry. You also know how to embarrass yourself. Gu Duxing sneered. Damn it, why don't you try? GMO was furious. Gu Duxing snorted and slowly said, When we left, Big Brother whispered a few words in my ear. He wanted me to pass it on to you. What did he say? GMO panicked. Boss said, as long as you cry I'll tell you. Like now you're indeed crying. Gu Duxing's cold and stiff lips revealed a hint of a smile. Useless thing. GMO's breathing quickened. Tell me quickly, what did boss say? Boss said, as long as you can get through it, overcome your inner demons and continue to improve, then, you should know that when you truly transform into a strong person, there's a supreme grade boundary between immortal and mortal. Gu Duxing grinned. Do you know what the boundary between immortal and mortal is? GMO's whole body trembled. Even his lips were trembling. When crossing that boundary, everyone has a chance to change themselves. Gu Duxing smiled. We can't change anymore, but you and Little Wolf can. Only the two of you can. Because you have the template but we don't. But to grasp that opportunity, you must know in advance and be mentally prepared. Moreover, you must withstand all the pressure. Where can you go? If you can't, then no one can help you. GMO's whole body trembled like a sieve. Really? Absolutely true. Gu Duxing laughed mischievously. Have you ever heard Big Brother tell a lie? No. GMO said affirmatively. Then his face flushed red with excitement. He clenched his fists tightly. I will definitely surpass the boundary between immortal and mortal. Then he said discontentedly, "Second brother Gu, you're so mean. You're so mean. How could you hide such good news from me the whole way?" Gu Duxing raised his eyebrows. "Boss asked me to do so. Why don't you go back and settle the score with him?" Jimo's whole body relaxed. He only felt that his life was full of hope, and he chuckled. He laughed and said, "Do you think I'm stupid?" Gu Duxing laughed. The supreme grade boundary between immortal and mortal naturally didn't have this kind of bone structure transformation. But Chu Yang had made up his mind to let GMO and Luo Kadi complete the bone structure transformation at that time. Otherwise, these two brothers of his would be crushed by the excellence of their brothers sooner or later. In this section, Chu Yang saw it clearly. Mo Tianji understood in his heart. GMO and Luo Kadi also knew in their hearts. Therefore, Chu Yang had already made thorough preparations. And even Gu Duxing didn't know about this matter that Chu Yang mentioned. And Chu Yang also didn't intend to let anyone know. Even after the transformation, he didn't intend to let them know. He only wanted to let GMO and Luo Kadi know that this was the result of their own efforts. Gu Duxing smiled and said, "I'm only responsible for telling you. As for your fellow sufferer Luo Kadi, I'll leave it to you." GMO was so excited that he did a somersault. He gritted his teeth. "I'll definitely make that guy feel like he's in heaven." He even cried today. Damn it, he wants to know without crying or making a fuss. Dream on. Wahahaha. GMO was serious, flashing with excitement and malice. It was obvious that he was already looking forward to how to deal with Luo Kadi. Gu Duxing let out a long sigh of relief. Aspen Valley. As the name implied, there was a stretch of aspen trees that rose into the sky. On average, they were so thick that it would take 5 people to wrap their arms around them. They were like giants standing in the entire valley. Within hundreds of miles, there wasn't a single other tree. On the opposite side, there were dense parasol trees. They were also tall and straight. The diameter of each tree was even thicker than the aspen trees. On the parasol trees, there were blackbirds' nests formed by natural trees. According to an ancient legend, planting a parasol tree would attract phoenixes. And the birds' nests that appeared on the parasol trees were called phoenix nests. Everyone should be familiar with this legend. Right now, Gu Duxing and GMO were quietly lying in a huge phoenix nest. From their position, there was a huge mine 5 miles away. At this moment, there were people going in and out. And the legendary land of dragons and phoenixes was here. "Do you feel anything?" GMO whispered telepathically. "No," Gu Duxing said indifferently. "I only feel that there are many experts here. The security is tight. And there's a kind of obscure energy, as if it's being provoked. If I'm not wrong, it should be the power of dragons and phoenixes. From this point of view, the corpses of dragons and phoenixes should still be here." GMO took a breath. "I want to go down and take a look." "No," Gu Duxing was shocked. "It's too risky. There are so many experts here. If I go down, I'll only be courting death. Don't be rash." GMO turned around and said seriously, "It's precisely because of this that I want to go down. I keep feeling that this is a huge trap. And it's a trap specially set up for us brothers. We came first. If we don't find out clearly, when the brothers come, they'll probably be at a disadvantage." Gu Duxing pondered for a while and said, "In that case, I'll go down. You wait here. It's not that I'm looking down on you. You're better at fighting than me. But when it comes to this, you're right behind me. Even if I fart, you won't be able to smell it." GMO said disdainfully. "Besides, if I get caught, no matter what you do outside, you'll be faster than me. It'll be more convenient. If you get caught, then I might really be at my wit's end." Gu Duxing thought silently for a while. Finally, he said slowly, "Be careful." GMO raised his eyebrows. "Nonsense. I'm still waiting for the boundary between immortal and mortal." Then, he leaned over and whispered something in Gu Duxing's ear. Gu Duxing's eyes widened. This works too?" GMO was full of confidence. "Don't worry, I'm possessed by Mo Tianji right now. This plan is absolutely flawless." Gu Duxing was speechless. "I saw everyone's New Year's greetings. Thank you. I wish you all happiness. Gee." I rushed back to edit it. and then rushed back immediately. Tomorrow's update will be at 17 p.m. G. Chapter 1399. Under Gu Duxing's gaze, GMO put down his sword. His first action was to touch his own buttocks. He looked like he was about to vomit, but he did not put on any makeup. His face was still swollen, and now his eyes were swollen from crying. He pulled his hair, making it look like a chicken's nest. Smart kids remember network super-fast hands. Then the two of them went down the tree like a wisp of smoke. Then they took a detour and went in the opposite direction, escaping more than 100 miles away. Then they rushed over in a panic, as if they did not know where to go. Along the way, strong winds blew, and the entire sky above Aspen Valley was like a hurricane. The Shao clan experts in the valley were instantly alerted, and they all looked up. And at this time, GMO roared, and with a bang, a mountain of dirt was lifted up. He roared, "I'll fight it out with you. Today, either you die or I die." Gu Duxing shouted, "Hand over that thing. I'll leave your corpse intact." GMO laughed bitterly, and his desolate and sorrowful aura filled the sky. Under everyone's gaze, a mountain suddenly flipped over in a faraway place. In an instant, the whole earth was shaking like a tsunami. GMO immediately leaped up, and then he hit his own chest with his palm. With a scream, he used his original voice to roar, "I won't let you go even if I become a ghost." He spat out a mouthful of blood, spasmed in midair, and fell down in the direction of the mine like a kite with a broken string. The dust behind him had already covered the sky, and he could not even see his own fingers. It was as if countless ancient gods and demons were chasing after him. Many of the Shao clan experts jumped up and looked into the distance. However, the sky was covered in dust and smoke. How could they see anything? The only thing that could be seen was a figure that seemed to have lost the ability to control himself, somersaulting in midair as he plummeted down. With such a rapid descent, none of the Shao family experts at the side of the mine dared to step forward to catch him, nor did they have the time to react. In a flash, Jimo's body smashed into the mine like a meteorite. He let out an earth-shattering scream, and it was a scream, but it was the real deal. If he wanted to put on an act in front of these experts, he had to be completely real. With a loud crash, Second Master Ji's body smashed through several hundred feet of the mountain wall and landed heavily in the mine. Along the way, cracking sounds never ceased. All the bones in his body had probably been broken into countless pieces. Then he let out a miserable groan. "Even if I die, that purple crystal soul of holy crystal, you won't be able to get it." His eyes rolled back, and this time, he was truly unconscious. Purple crystal soul of holy crystal? In the mine. A purple-robed Shao family expert raised his white eyebrows and said in shock, "Keep him here." The experts of the Shao clan, who were originally shocked, wanted nothing more than to grind Jimo's bones and scatter his ashes. But when they heard the words purple crystal soul of the holy crystal, they were immediately stunned. A black-clothed and masked figure suddenly appeared in the middle of the dust cloud. His eyes shot out a terrifying murderous intent as he coldly shouted, "Since that's the case, I can't have it. No one else can get it." Suddenly, the long sword lit up. He swung it down fiercely from high up in the sky. A sword aura that almost split the heavens and earth struck down like a bolt of lightning. The shining sword aura split the entire mountain in half. It struck mercilessly at Jimo's unconscious body. "Block it!" A loud shout. Below, more than 10 Shao clan experts, regardless of their cultivation level. They attacked at the same time. Gu Duxing had already used up all his strength in this attack. It was extremely fierce. Before he attacked, he didn't dare to use his full strength for fear that these Shao clan bastards wouldn't take him seriously. Once he saw that the Shao clan had attacked, he was relieved and used 120% of his strength at the same time. There was a loud boom. The 17 Shao clan supreme martial artists who attacked. 4 of the weaker ones spat out blood and fell out on the spot. The others also swayed violently. Fear and trepidation appeared in their eyes. This black-clothed man, who suddenly appeared, was actually so strong. More than 10 of them attacked together. Although it happened in a hurry, and they didn't use all their strength, it was definitely not something that an ordinary 5th grade supreme martial artist could take on. As for those below 5th grade, they didn't even need to consider. In midair, Gu Duxing let out a muffled groan. He was thrown up like a ball and flew up 1,000 feet into the sky. He raised his head violently and spat out a big mouthful of blood. He was shocked. Just these people who attacked were already shockingly strong. He really didn't know how many more people the Shao clan had deployed here. There was a whooshing sound, and a few figures leaped into the sky. They closed in on Gu Duxing. Gu Duxing retreated and slid out a few hundred feet. He said coldly, "Who are you people?" The leader, an elder, asked gloomily, "Who are you? How dare you behave so atrociously in the territory of the Shao clan?" Gu Duxing was startled. He asked, "Shao clan?" "Yes. Autumn Sword Aura." Suddenly, he turned around and flew out like a bolt of lightning. He shouted, "Since the people of the Shao clan are here, then it's my fault for being rash today. I'll come and apologize another day. The mountains are high and the rivers are long." That expert from the Shao clan didn't expect the other party to disappear without a trace with just a sentence. "Chase!" one of them shouted. That purple-robed elder said coldly, "No need to chase. If a 5th grade supreme martial artist wants to escape, who can catch up? All of you go down." Below in the mine, GMO lay there covered in blood, his breathing weak. It was obvious that he only had one breath left. Above his body, there was a hole in the air, and light shone in. It was a few hundred feet high. It was a heavenly road that was smashed out by his body. The purple-robed elder stood beside him, his eyes flashing coldly. He sized him up and said indifferently, "Let him wake up first." Then he left with a flick of his sleeves. With his eyesight, he could almost count the few strands of hair on G-Mo's head clearly. He could already tell that this guy in front of him was already hanging by a thread between life and death. Or rather, he could totally be counted as a living dead. If this was a ruse, this level was a little too much. "Elder Master, today's matter is really strange," another yellow-robed man said. The purple-robed elder said indifferently, "It's just two people fighting over a treasure. Since ancient times, wealth has moved people's hearts. Of course, we must be cautious in everything. But we must not be overly jittery and treat everyone as an enemy." "Yes." The supreme martial artists behind lowered their heads and answered. The purple-robed elder said, "Have there been any unusual movements recently? Check if there are any new news from the informant. Also, check on the Chu clan's movements and confirm if this person is really a ruse. Also, wait for him to wake up. Ask him about his background." "Yes. Don't worry, Elder Master. Don't worry too much about him. Just wake him up and ask about the whereabouts of that purple crystal Bible soul. Then quickly send him on his way. Our side can't afford to delay any longer." "Yes." This purple-robed elder was one of the 2 remaining elders of the Shao clan. The younger brother of the founder of the clan, Shao Qinyu, and the second of the tribulations back then, Shao Qinlei. This time, at the land of Dragon and Phoenix bringing prosperity. To actually be able to mobilize him personally, it was enough to show how much importance the Shao clan attached to this land of Dragon and Phoenix bringing prosperity. And Shao Qinlei was also one of the only 3 middle-grade supreme martial artists in the Shao clan. Although he was only an elementary-grade supreme martial artist, in this level Heaven's continent, he was enough to rank in the top 20. The words "purple crystal soul of the holy crystal" that GMO shouted before he fainted were too powerful. The soul of the purple crystal was already a legendary item in the level Heaven's continent. Even with the Shao clan's 10,000 years of accumulation, they only had one soul of the purple crystal. And that soul of the purple crystal was still in the purple crystal mine. It wasn't taken out. Everyone knew. The reason why the purple crystal mine existed was because of the soul of the purple crystal. With the constant nourishment of the soul of the purple crystals could be produced continuously. It took hundreds of thousands of years of nourishment for a single purple crystal mine to appear. But if the soul of the purple crystal was taken away, the entire purple crystal mine would immediately become rootless. Therefore, the importance of the soul of the purple crystal was practically unparalleled. Moreover, it was GMO who shouted it. It was the purple crystal soul of the holy crystal? It was obviously of a higher level. To a super clan like the Xiao clan, the temptation of this was practically unparalleled. Even if GMO was short-sighted, and the so-called purple crystal soul of the holy crystal was actually just a soul of the purple crystal, the Xiao clan would still protect him first. And if they got it, they definitely wouldn't be disappointed. GMO woke up and wanted to sit up, but he groaned in pain and lay down again. He murmured, "Am I not dead?" Beside him, a cold voice said, "All the bones in your body are broken. You'd better behave and not move." GMO asked weakly, "Who are you? Did you save me?" That person said coldly, "If we didn't save you, could there be anyone else?" A face appeared above GMO's head. GMO took a look. What a long horse face. If this person's face was placed on a horse's head, no one would feel the slightest bit conflicted. It was really too vivid. Not only was the face long, but that nose, those eyes, those eyebrows, that mouth, that chin. Second Master G was stunned on the spot. What the fuck? A horse is talking to me. Is this hell and I'm already dead? The horse-faced man's face darkened at once. Around him, uncontrollable laughter could be heard. The horse-faced man snorted angrily. He waved his hand and said, "Fuck you guys, ask him." He turned and left. After everyone's explanation, GMO finally believed that he had been saved. He immediately thanked them profusely and struggled to get up to thank them. But the moment he moved, he felt a sharp pain. His eyes rolled back and he fainted again. The Xiao clan members looked at each other. After a long time, Second Master G finally woke up again. He was in so much pain that he couldn't speak. The Xiao clan members had no choice but to treat him again. That was barely enough. "I'm a person with a hard life." Second Master G began to tell his story. In the story, he was the successor of a reclusive clan. His surname was Jiang, and his name was Jiang Yi. The reclusive clan was extremely powerful, but it attracted covetous eyes. Thus, he was implicated as a spy, and it was that person just now. Then, he found out that the Jiang clan's rise was entirely due to a piece of purple crystal soul of the holy crystal that contained ancient secrets. A certain mysterious force destroyed the Jiang clan overnight. He escaped with his life and fled all the way here. Chapter 1400. Second Master G was undoubtedly an expert storyteller. Smart child remembers the world. Super fast hands. This was tempered by his countless lies and glib tongue. When this entire story was told by him, it was simply a story of blood and tears in the pugilistic world. Everyone who heard this story would never doubt the authenticity of it. Especially when Second Master G was crying as he spoke. That kind of speechlessness, that kind of grief and anger, that kind of despair, was really portrayed to the bone. The process was even more moving, and could only be described in detail. How honest and strong his own family was, how inexperienced they were, how they were deceived, how they were negligent, how they were careless, how they were plotted against by the enemy, how despicable the enemy was, how meticulous their plan was, how strong they were, what tricks they used, who was their brains, who was their number one expert, how vicious and ungrateful they were, how the family met with trouble, how the fire broke out, how many loyal experts sacrificed to cover his escape, how they were killed, how they fought without hesitation, how they were heroic. As he spoke, GMO was so moved that tears fell from his eyes. The 7 or 8 experts of the Xiao clan, who were listening by the side, also sighed. Some of them even had red eyes. My poor flying spirit beast. GMO looked up to the sky and sighed. He thumped his chest and stamped his feet in grief. That was such a precious, obedient, adorable, beautiful, and loyal 10th grade spirit beast. That snow eagle. That snow eagle. That snow eagle. That snow eagle. That snow eagle had self-detonated in the sky and died. That was the only reason I had enough time to escape. My snowflake eagle, ah. My snowflake eagle, ah. When it was about to die, it looked at me with that expression. Although it was only a spirit beast, I completely understood its meaning. It wanted me to live on no matter what. GMO bawled loudly, his heart broken. The experts of the Xiao clan. From being cold and impatient at the start, to being attracted later on. Then, they gradually immersed themselves in this story step by step, their eyes brimming with tears. They imagined a scene in their minds. A snowflake eagle was being chased by countless enemies, and it was already riddled with injuries. It resolutely threw its master far away, then turned its head to look at its master affectionately, and charged towards the enemies without hesitation. With an earth-shattering explosion, it became an eternal legend in the sky, become the loyal soul of the universe. Everyone sighed deeply. Such a spiritual bird, it was a rare sight. In the end, only one bastard managed to catch up with the enemy. That bastard was that ungrateful bastard. This person's surname was Luan, and he was ranked second. I have always called him Luan Lauer. This damned Luan Lauer, he has been chasing us relentlessly, trying to kill us all. If you hadn't saved me, I wouldn't have survived. I, Jiang Yi, will not be able to escape this calamity. My Jiang clan's blood feud is as deep as the ocean, my snowflake eagle. Jimo's eyes were brimming with tears. He looked at everyone with deep affection and gratitude. Thank you so much. You are all good people. You are all very good people. The experts of the Shao clan felt somewhat ashamed. We are good people. We were just waiting to dig out your secret, and then we would slaughter you like a pig. Now, to actually be crowned with such a lofty honor of being a great good person, he was really ashamed to accept it. To think that I, Jiang Yi, can also be considered a genius of my generation. Second Master Ji boasted. His face was full of pain. All the meridians in my body had already been opened by the purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal when I was a baby. I was already a martial venerable when I was 3, an emperor level when I was 10, and a martial saint when I was 15. Now, I am already a peak second-grade supreme martial artist at 21. What a pity. The heavens don't wait for years. They actually allowed me to encounter such a disaster while I was advancing by leaps and bounds. All the bones in my body are already broken. Second Master Ji looked up to the sky and howled in grief and indignation. How can I take revenge for those blood feuds? These words made the people of the Shao clan shudder involuntarily. Excitedly, close to the peak, that purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal actually had such an effect? All the meridians opened when he was a baby, and he reached peak second-grade supreme martial artist at 21? With a whoosh, Xiao Qinlei appeared at the side and asked calmly, Jiang Yi, let me ask you, what exactly is that purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal? What is its function? Everyone's ears perked up. Xiao Qinlei called him Jiang Yi, but it sounded like he was calling him Chief Jiang. However, no one paid attention to it at all. GMO said hoarsely, that purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal. Legend has it that it was the core of a huge purple crystal mine in ancient times. Countless souls of purple crystal can be derived from this purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal. Countless souls of purple crystal can be derived. Everyone gasped, their eyes filled with eagerness at once. Apart from the fact that the soul of purple crystal can assist in cultivation, as long as this purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal is placed in one's dantian for a day and guided by cultivation techniques, it can improve one's aptitude and open up all the meridians in one's body. Thus, there will be no more obstacles or bottlenecks in one's path of martial arts, and there won't be any inner demons. Hiss, there was a series of gasps. The supreme martial artists of the Shao clan had practically sucked the entire place into a vacuum zone. Open up all the meridians in one's body, without any obstacles or bottlenecks, without any inner demons. What the heck? This was practically one of the legendary divine pills that could send one to the heavens. Oh my god, Xiao Qinlei's eyes narrowed. Is there really such a thing? He reached out and placed his hand on Jimo's wrist, circulating his energy to check. At once he discovered that although this person was seriously injured and his meridians were blocked, it was all because of his injuries. The meridians all over his body were indeed unobstructed. He couldn't help but ponder. After a long while he asked dispassionately, where is this purple crystal soul of Holy Crystal now? Everyone's expression became anxious at once. All of them looked at this Jiang Yi with burning eyes, holding their breaths as they waited for his answer. With this question, GMO fell silent. After a long while he said hoarsely, although I don't know your identities, all of you have saved my life. which is already worthy of me offering up the purple crystal soul of holy crystal with both hands. It's a pity that the enemy is really too powerful. If all of you had gotten the purple crystal soul of holy crystal, I'm afraid you'd be asking for trouble. The corners of Xiao Chunlei's mouth curved. He said dispassionately, "You don't have to worry about this. You just have to tell us where the purple crystal soul of holy crystal is." With difficulty, GMO said, "All right. Anyway, I have no hope of revenge, so I'll fulfill all of your wishes and repay all of you for saving my life." Xiao Chunlei saw that he was so understanding. He couldn't help but let out a rare smile. "That purple crystal soul of holy crystal is hidden in my clan's secret ground, in the 100,000 mountains. As long as it's a direct descendant of my clan, when their limbs are healthy and full of vitality, they will be able to touch it. Once they cut their wrists and smear their blood essence on it, the secret ground will automatically sense it. When it opens, they will be able to see the purple crystal soul of holy crystal." Second Master Ji had used Aoshian's dragon bloodline as a reference to open the secret ground. It was flawless. Xiao Chunlei's eyes flashed. "In that case, outsiders can't open it at all?" GMO smiled sadly. "Otherwise, why would my clan be persecuted like this? And why would they be so eager to hunt me down?" Xiao Chunlei nodded. He somewhat believed this statement. He had seen a lot. Naturally, he knew all the mysterious existences. They couldn't be judged by common sense. And this method of opening the secret ground, that required the direct descendant's bloodline, was the one and only way for the powerful clans and clans of the Heavens continent to maintain their power for generations. Even the Xiao clan had such a secret ground. And that was naturally the supreme secret of the Xiao clan. The life-threatening injury that was absolutely true, the terrifying hunt, the fierce sword that split the mountain. The story was flawless. That extremely desperate and sorrowful expression, the display of true feelings, and that sincere and honest expression of Second Master Ji at this moment, that even he was touched by it. And that genuine feeling of gratitude. It formed a vicious lie that one had no choice but to believe. Xiao Chunlei nodded and turned to leave. Before he left, he instructed, "One must always be wary of others. Everyone who heard it once must think of a way to make this little guy repeat it a second and third time. In this way, use it for comparison, to make sure there's no mistake. In case there's anything suspicious, control your greed immediately and kill him. If there's nothing suspicious, treat his injuries immediately. At the very least, restore his mobility first, or at least to the point where he can move. Don't be like now where his bones are broken, and he doesn't even dare to move. Then, move to the camp as soon as possible. After all, this was a mine. Firstly, it wasn't a place for treatment. Secondly, this place had become a huge trap. An impending killing scene. This Jiang Ye's body was involved with such an important thing. It was really not suitable for him to stay here. When his injuries recovered a little, he would send someone to follow him to retrieve the purple crystal and soul of the holy crystal. Jimo's injuries naturally wouldn't recover so easily. As he treated him, he started to get close to him, calling him senior, calling him benefactor, and saying that he would repay him with all his might. Second Master Ji's little mouth was the embodiment of honey at this moment. The supreme martial artists of the Xiao clan sensitively felt that the elder master seemed to have some appreciation for talent, so they were much more polite to him. After all, even if he didn't appreciate talent, he still needed to use this little guy's bloodline to open the treasure. There should be no harm in chatting for a while. For a moment, everyone introduced themselves with the same name and became friendly. People kept coming in and asking GMO questions. GMO kept repeating the same thing over and over again. There was no flaw in his story. Everyone believed him without a doubt. Moreover, they all sighed endlessly. During this period, GMO was also counting. There were really quite a number of experts here. It looked like the Xiao clan had really broken through. In total, there were close to 30 supreme martial artists who had come in. And there were 17 to 18 supreme martial artists of 4th or 5th grade and above. Such strength was really shocking and terrifying. After getting familiar with them, Second Master Ji finally spoke unintentionally. "Strange, why are all of you here?" I don't remember the Xiao clan being in this place. That supreme martial artist Horseface smiled. During this period of time, this person who GMO had offended the moment he woke up was the one who chatted with GMO the most, and was also the closest. He said, "We naturally have an important mission here." "What mission is so important?" GMO's eyes lit up. Chapter 1401. Mission. Of course it's a very important mission. Horseface was in a difficult position. Furthermore, once your body recovers a little, you'll have to move immediately. This place will become very dangerous. Very dangerous? You want me to move? That won't do. If something happens to all of you, can I still live? GMO spoke eloquently about the matter of moving him. All of you are my saviors. Of course I have to live and die with all of you. All of you are the people closest to me. How can I drag out an ignoble existence when all of you are in danger? Then wouldn't I be worse than a beast? If I don't do something for all of you, I won't be at ease even if I die. Please let me do something for all of you. Even if I can't do anything, I'll feel comfortable accompanying all of you. In the face of such a sincere request, what could the Xiao clan say? And so Second Master Ji stayed in the mining area. And all the way until late at night, the news came. Chu Yang and the rest of the Chu clan had left the Chu clan in the afternoon, and were heading here. Xiao Chenlei pondered for a while. He had also wondered if this Jiang Yi could be a spy from the Chu clan. But the divergence in time dispelled a little of his doubts once again. And at this time, with the help of the Xiao clan's divine medicine, GMO could already move around a little. Of course, it was still completely impossible for him to walk on the ground. But it didn't delay chatting at all. So now, GMO already knew what position each supreme martial artist was in charge of. Benefactor, where are you? Why do I feel like I haven't seen you for a long time? Benefactor, is your position dangerous? Sigh, what a pity that my heart armor has been destroyed. Big brother, you are my biological big brother. Boo-hoo, I'm so grateful that you came to heal me again. Where are you? Can't you accompany me for a while more? Are you that busy? Elder Xiao, I really can't believe it. You are already 10,000 years old. This is really a miracle. Oh my God. I've finally met a living God today. Ah, Elder Xiao, why don't I see you? Third brother Xiao, oh it's really tough. Come. Let's chat. I'll relieve you of your tiredness. Why? Why don't you chat with me? How did I offend you? I'll change. Second Master Ji's tone was sincere, and his expression was pure. Moreover, if others ignored him, he would pester them, for example. Did I offend you? Please be magnanimous, and don't be angry with me. I'm still young and don't know what I'm talking about. Why don't you chat with me? I'm so lonely. Whenever I'm lonely, I'm reminded of my blood feud. Instantly, I feel like I have nothing left to live for. Thank you. Thank you for chatting with me. What should we talk about? Haha, seventh brother Xiao. Why don't you tell me the story of this mine? Ha. Secret? Seventh brother Xiao, do you think I'm an idiot? Haha, this mine is obviously a purple crystal mine. Although I'm not that talented, I'm still very interested in a mere purple crystal mine. Oh, I see. Dragon and Phoenix. You're not bluffing, are you? This is impossible. How can there be dragons and phoenixes in this world? What a joke. Fuck. This was actually real? Oh my God. I've misunderstood you. I deserve to die 1,000 times for my sins. Even if I die 1,000 times, I won't be able to atone for my sins. I'll repent. Is there a need for that? I don't think it matters. What Chu clan can be so powerful? Are they more powerful than all of you? I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I won't believe it even if I die. Ah, so they're really powerful? Ayaya, I want to live and die together with you. I want to live and die together with you. We hate being born on the same day, month, and year. But if there's really danger, we brothers will die on the same day, month, and year. I, Jiangyi, won't have lived in vain. Although the supreme martial artists of the Xiao clan enjoyed his flattery, they were also somewhat depressed. After cultivating for so many years, and becoming supreme martial artists, who would like to talk so much? But they didn't expect that this little one they saved was actually a super chatterbox. The most speechless thing about his little mouth was that even when there was no one around him, he could still curse at the air or mumble to himself. If a worm crawled past him, he would cry, "Worm, I really envy you. You're so carefree. How would you know my pain?" Everyone was really convinced, damn it. After living for so many years, I only know what a weirdo is today. I dare to bet that if this little one died, that tongue of his would definitely be the last part to stiffen. After being tempered so many times, this tongue had already become a spirit. It was really too much exercise. Little did they know that in this glib tongue, Second Master Ji had already figured out the ins and outs of this place. Evening finally arrived. As the night descended, Chu Yang, Mo Tianji, and the rest also silently entered the Aspen Valley. Once they entered this area, Mo Tianji immediately gave the order for the brothers to split up and use their own methods to infiltrate the Aspen Valley. They gathered in front of the mine. The enemy must have set up an inescapable trap in the mine. As long as Elder Yu doesn't attack, we definitely won't be their match. So in this battle, firstly, we need to snatch the treasure, and secondly, we need to train our troops. It's obviously very difficult. So we need to gather our troops and attack one place first. And now, we're splitting up for the upcoming battle. We definitely won't attack the mine rashly and fall into a trap. But we need to create traces there. We must attract all their forces here. Then, we'll attack their main camp and cut off their supplies. Let them become rootless water. This time we'll split up. Everyone must write down their methods to me completely after the battle, including their mentality at that time. Compared to snatching the treasure and the seventh fragment of the Calamity Sword, Mo Tianji obviously paid more attention to the methods of the brothers at this level. Although we're gathered together now, we may not be together forever. There will definitely be many times when we have to fight for ourselves. Our methods are very important. Facing the enemy this time will be the beginning of my training. So, everyone must complete it independently. Mo Tianji said solemnly. Chu Yang agreed wholeheartedly with this decision. The seven brothers, Mo Qingwu and Mo Lei, are immediately split up. Under the cover of the night, they silently disappeared into the bushes of Aspen Valley. Mo Qingwu. This time she was also acting alone. The little girl was obviously a little scared. But Mo Tianji and Chu Yang hardened their hearts at the same time and ignored Mo Qingwu's pitiful gaze. The little girl pouted and went to carry out her mission, feeling wronged, leaving behind two men who sighed deeply. "You don't have to persuade me. I understand." Chu Yang and Mo Tianji said this at the same time. They opened and closed their mouths at the same time. The same conflicted expression of deep sighs. The same gesture of waving their hands. "My sister needs training to adapt to the martial world. I understand this, but who do you think you are?" Mo Tianji was a little unhappy. Chu Yang said earnestly, "Brother-in-law, there's something I have to remind you. Your sister is my wife. Do you know what the word wife means? You're like an old hen protecting its food every day. Interesting. It's true that she's your biological sister, but how long can you accompany her?" Minister Chu said proudly. "But my wife has to accompany me for thousands of years. You're just an elder brother. What nonsense are you? You're actually jealous every day for no reason. Are you a pain in the ass?" Mo Tianji glared at him. "You. What about me?" Chu Yang had the upper hand and immediately counterattacked. "I can take over your role as an elder brother. But can you take over the role of my husband? You're going against me and being jealous of me. Can you take it?" Mo Tianji covered his face and left. Sword Master Chu let out a long breath and exhaled. Fuck, this time, it was an overwhelming advantage. It's really too satisfying. He had never felt so good in a battle with Mo Tianji. His body flashed and he disappeared into the bushes. Dong Wuxiang took the lead. His burly body used the cover of the night to choose a method that was almost open and aboveboard. As for the concealment that Mo Tianji mentioned, Dong Wuxiang also wanted to do it. But he really couldn't do it. He might as well charge over in a semi-open manner. Furthermore, the more he charged, the more confident he became, and the more aboveboard he became. It was like a gust of wind blowing across the ground. On Dong Wuxiang's right, not far away, was naturally Mo Layer. The black demon young master's entire body seemed to have merged into the darkness, flowing along with the night fog. Ever since she met Mo Tianji, and Mo Tianji passed the old black demon's secret manual to her, Mo Layer had inherited this secret manual. With the help of her supreme martial artist cultivation, she naturally learned it immediately. It was like adding wings to a tiger. Ao Xian, on the other hand, was like a wriggling snake, silently slithering through the bushes. Everywhere he passed, there was no sound. Even the tender grass was not damaged at all. It was the dragon-shaped technique, the secret technique of the dragon clan. On the other hand, Rui Budong's body was like a large bird, flying freely in the dense forest without his feet touching the ground. His black robe fluttered in the wind. Even if one were to see him face to face, one would only think that this was a large bird and not a person. The Phoenix clan's free and unfettered travel technique. Luo Kadi, on the other hand, strictly followed the art of concealment and concealment as he moved forward meticulously. His every move was as standard as a textbook. Xie Danxiong's body spun forward. Although he spun quickly, there was no sound at all. His body turned into a blurry whirlwind as he spun. In such a state, not only could he conceal himself perfectly, he could also use his viburnum flowers to attack. It could be said that he could attack and defend at the same time. Mo Tianji's white robe fluttered, perfectly blending with the moonlight that occasionally seeped into the forest. It was like a piece of bright moonlight, moving gracefully. No one could see where Chu Yang was. But Mo Tianji could guess that in the forest, where the red flowers were blooming, Chu Yang would definitely be at the side. Because that was Mo Qingwu moving forward. Mo Qingwu was dressed in red. Wherever she passed, it was as if the grass was blooming with red flowers. But it definitely did not make people feel that it was out of place. In a field of green, the red flowers danced, just like the most exquisite dance in the world, soaring between heaven and earth. Attack from 8 directions. Target purple crystal mine. Yesterday, I drank until I passed out. Brothers, having a father-in-law, who is known as the wine immortal, is really not a man's day. As soon as I left, I already said that if you drink a cup, I'll drink half a cup, okay? The old man said. Then you have to drink with me to my heart's content. I thought, even if I get drunk, I can still drink 2 cups. No matter how big the old man's alcohol tolerance is, 4 cups should be about half a liter. So I agreed readily. In the end, father-in-law drank 8 cups. When I got home last night, I couldn't get up no matter what. My legs were like 2 puddles of mud. I couldn't move. My wife tried to help me, but she couldn't. She carried me, but she couldn't. I heard that he called his younger cousin and carried me up. Today, I slept until the afternoon. I didn't even know that there was a guest at home. I only woke up at 3 in the afternoon. Only then did I know that I went crazy drunk at father-in-law's house last night. I slammed the table in front of him and said, "Motherfucker." I heard that we were arguing about the war of resistance against Japan. Father-in-law is indeed a retired soldier. He followed me and scolded me. That momentum was earth-shattering. Mother-in-law called today and said that the father and son's alcohol tolerance is bad. Don't drink anymore. I heard that after I left, the old man took a knife and insisted on fighting ghosts. What the hell? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.